Okay, let's begin this meeting. So I have several papers here. Let me get all this organized really quick. Yeah. So tonight is the meeting of the Town Council, Tuesday, July 15th, 2025. It looks like it's about squinting, about 5:02 p.m. So let's have our call to order.
Council members Abel,
Here.
Dennison,
Here.
Lombardo,
Here.
Schooler,
Here.
and Mayor Droz.
Here.
Mayor, at your designation, we'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance immediately followed by the invocation. Tonight's invocation will be given by Robert Dick, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. If everyone would please stand and remain standing until after the invocation.
All right, thank you, Priest Robert Dick. But we're going to ask Sue Ernest to say the Pledge of Allegiance. And I want to say Sue is our community services manager, and she was on the council many years ago, and she was the mayor. I bet you wish you were tonight. All right, so let's start the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me in the pledge. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our most kind Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this opportunity that we do have to gather in this council meeting. Father, we ask that thy blessings would be upon our council members, that thy spirit would be with them, that they will have the wisdom that is necessary to conduct the affairs of this town. Father, we ask that thy blessings would be upon our first responders, that they too will be kept safe in the course of their daily activities. We ask that thy blessings would also be upon their families, that they too will have thy guidance and thy care. Father, we ask that thy blessings would be upon this meeting, and we ask for these things humbly in the name of thy beloved Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you, High Priest Robert Dick from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. All right, so now we have, let's see here. We have our presentations. So the first thing is the recognition of the Yucca Valley Chamber of Commerce. So, is anybody?
Mayor, thank you. We have this evening Tanya Chu and prior President Wanda Statham. But Tanya, we'll turn it over to you to provide a quick update on the chamber, and then I think the mayor may have something that he wants to say in addition to that.
All right. Good evening. A lot of updates. Well, we are reamping everything at the Welcome Center. You're welcome to come by and see all the neat things that we're doing, from new members to going online, going digital. So it's been amazing. But other than that, it's been the best 2 weeks to serve you guys in the community. I'm very new. So, and Wanda is our former president CEO for the chamber, and she's retired. And we had a great 10 and a half, almost 11 years together. And so it's big shoes I had to fill. But I see the chamber opening new doors when it comes to being not just for small businesses. I look at it as a learning place for people who want to start a small business. They can come and I can help give them the guidance to start that. And that's been a big thing that I've been wanting to do for a long time is giving people the opportunity to start their own businesses here in the community.
Thank you. Great,
Yeah.
Tanya. Thank you.
Yeah. All right.
Do you want me to say something?
Yes, we would love you to say something.
I was waiting for it. She told me she wasn't going to say anything.
I'm out of here.
We're going to miss you, Wanda.
Thank you.
Well, Wanda, do you want to say more? Or 'cause I have something to say.
There's just way too much. The last 10 years have been fun. It's been a great job. I've learned a lot, grown quite a bit, met some wonderful people, some great organizations, helped some businesses out. made it through COVID, 2 years of working alone. It was great. What a job. What a cool job that is. And I'm really happy that we have Tanya taking over the reins. She's going to be a great leader for all of you. And I couldn't ask for better partners with the town of Yucca Valley throughout the years. You guys have just always been steadfast and right there for us, working together and working out things together and coming to some really great conclusions and some wonderful advances for the community. So thank you for this honor. I really do appreciate you, all of you. And you haven't seen the last of me, of course.
I agree.
Thank you, Wanda.
I'm trying to learn how to chill right now.
So Wanda, stay up there. Would you like me to say something about you or not? I will anyway, so let's go. Tonight, we're recognizing Wanda Statham on her retirement from Yucca Valley Chamber of Commerce after 11 years of service. As the Chamber's executive director, Wanda has been the local Energizer Bunny, which I would totally agree with, presenting many programs and services benefiting the community. The most notable events we've seen over the years are the annual Grubstake Days celebration, the Gourd Festival, the Arts Festival, Leeds luncheons, and countless ribbon cuttings for new chamber members. Interestingly, though, Wanda's support of the Yucca Valley business community did not start when she took the helm at the Chamber of Commerce. Wanda has been a successful business owner, sharing her creative talents as a professional sign maker and advertiser. Many of us have seen her beautiful hand-lettered signage, celebrating the holiday season or the latest grand opening. Wanda, we hope you continue to keep the community healthy by leading the summer water aerobics class, which has a very dedicated following. We know you will stay busy in retirement, whether it's traveling or indulging or in your artistic creations. We wish you all the best. Don't be a stranger, and thank you for your tireless work in community. So thank you. So I'm going to come up there, and now you have to adjust your private life because you and Bob will be together more at home.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, I'm the door monitor now, and he turns off the lights.
That's right. Perfect.
Mayor, as you approach the podium, Wanda, just from staff's perspective, thank you so much for your work on the chamber, for supporting our businesses. It's always been a pleasure to deal with you, very professional in everything that you do, so thank you from staff's perspective.
You, Curtis. Oh my, that's beautiful.
yes. So Wanda, recognizing 11 years of dedicated service to Yucca Valley's business community, residents and visitors. Your enthusiastic advocacy to the community's charms, opportunities, and benefits have truly enhanced the local quality of life. Congratulations on your retirement, dated this 15th day of July, 2025. So thank you, Wanda. We deserve Get a picture, all of us?
Better jump in and start talking when we're done. Want to say something? Yeah. Go ahead, hit the. Well, Wanda, I want to thank you as well, and Bob. I mean, either one of you doing just the jobs that you both have and serving our community would be enough, but when you both dedicate your lives to our community, it's outstanding. And of course, you couldn't have done it without his support, and he couldn't do his duty for the community without your support. So you're a great example of what a married couple committed to one another is, as well as to our community. And it doesn't go unnoticed. The way you both look at each other whenever you're in the same room together, or whenever you see each other, is noticeable. And the support that you have has made it just a pleasure to see. So thank you again for all that you do. And Bob, thank you also for serving the community for all these years. I know you're not done serving us, but this will just be in a different capacity. So again, Wanda, thank you, and thank you, Bob.
I'd like to kind of comment on that too. Wanda and Bob have been a big part of the community for a very long time, and we go back a long ways, long ways when they were making signs and stuff and advertising in the community, and they were always involved in everything that happened. And the Grub Steaks days would have never been as grand in my memory as when you were involved with it and helping it all along. And the Chamber of Commerce has done a lot of things when I was in business that I was really happy to have the support of you and your staff at the Chamber of Commerce. Yucca Valley has changed a lot over the years, and I think it's for the better, and you've really put a lot of effort in it. And the two of you made a great team and acted as great mentors for a lot of people that are hoping to help and continue on the great traditions you've started at the Chamber, and we look forward to having you still in our community and still involved in all the things. You and Bob were at every charity event that I can ever think of, and we've enjoyed all the interactions. We've always had a fun time with you guys. Good. Thank you so much.
Sure, if I could take a moment and probably repeat what we just heard, but Wanda and I go back, way back to, I'm thinking right around 1980 or something like that, when she first breezed into town and approached me about getting a job as a water aerobics instructor. And we put her to work, and she's still doing that today. So all this time she's been doing water exercise classes for people and helping people in that way, as well as her work with the signs and the Chamber of Commerce. And I wrote down a few words: creative, hardworking, energetic, innovative, resourceful, tenacious, positive. I've never seen Wanda down, and she's had a lot of reason to be down a lot of the time because things don't always go the way you want. But you've been a great asset to the community, and we wish you well in your retirement, Wanda.
Well, Wanda, congratulations, and thank you very much. I know that you're not done. It's not like you to walk away from something that you love so much. And you've proven year after year how much you love your community. I met you years ago, and the things you were doing in the town was just as you're doing today. You're steadfast in everything you do. I remember the beautiful art that you would do every year all around town for everybody, all the signs. There was no other place besides Signs by Wanda, and all the work you did. And we shared stories because Bob, he would come into the bike shop, quite an avid cyclist, and so many stories of the past. And then talking to you, I remember we used to talk about Tinker back then and your relationship and how, and to think of where he is as a world-class person now, you know, racing all over the world. You just motivate people. You get them to do the right thing and enjoy doing the right thing and being able to see the fruits that everyone else benefits from. So everyone else has said so much, but I just want to say thank you to both of you as a team in our community. And I know there's a lot more to come from you, so I'm still excited to watch you, and you are the Energizer Bunny, yes.
Wanda, I want to say one more thing. I remember when I was teaching at Yucca Valley High School, and I was doing the job shadowing program, internship, and you would take students in to learn your trade, and that was really great. So students that were interested in art, I would send them over to you. So we've known each other a long time, and I appreciate everything you've done, and that was my first moment knowing you, so thank you. All right, next we have High Desert Water District Sewer Project Update.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We're happy to have this evening General Manager Tony Culver to provide an update on Phase 2 of the sewer project. Tony, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. So, as all of you, most of you know, that we got a $104 million grant from the state to start, or to the next phase of our project. And we finally got the the final budget approval from the state at the end of June. So we've been working hard to get Sucit rolling. Sucit Construction is going to do the job again. I think they did a pretty good job of the first phase. So they're going to start as soon as they can. So we end up getting we end up getting a schedule from them, and they are going to start grinding roads in the country club area on August 4th. And the same day in August, we're going to have a groundbreaking ceremony at 9 a.m. on Camino del Cielo. It'd just be north of the highway there, or actually north of Martinez. So if you guys would love to come, we'd love to have you there. So, and then after that, they're going to start construction, actual digging on the 11th of August, which is huge. It's a big milestone for us. You know, we had the grant had a end date of December of 2025. So we've been working hard to get extensions. We've been trying to get Sucit rolling sooner, but it's been tough. But we find out today we got the extension. So we should be able to complete the project, which is huge for the town. So we'll have, there'll be more to come. I'm gonna start coming more often, bring maps and stuff so you can see where we're actually gonna be. But for now, we're gonna be in the country club area, but the next time I come, we'll definitely bring maps to help out the situation. Last week, Curtis, Shane, and I met with Fish and Wildlife. And Curtis, if you want to chime in at any time, let me know. And the meeting went really well. So we make sure that everybody's on the same page and make sure that we're going to address all the Josh Tree protection requirements needed. And this is going to be for our project and also for the homeowners. So it's a huge deal. And Fish and Wildlife's working really hard to help us. And we wanted to make sure it's a collaborative effort with the town. That way, when people go to hook up the sewer, they're not going to be, having to pay this Josh Tree fees. All the fees will be paid. So that was huge. There's more to come on that. We'll have more information when that all comes, because I think the town should see a delegation agreement on end of this week, and they have to bring it back to you guys for approval and stuff. But that's all in the works. And pretty much we'd like to, Curtis and Shane have been awesome through this whole process. They've been helping me tremendously. I'm new to this job, and it's been tough. But Curtis has been my backbone. If I need anything, I call him, and he helps me out, and I really appreciate that. And we just want to thank all you guys for being patient with us. We're trying to get this done, and it seems like it's going to go good. We're going to have all brand new roads and stuff, and it's going to be cool. But we definitely look forward to continued cooperation and a successful construction phase to help this community. So, and I'd love to answer any questions.
Thank you, Tony. Is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on this? Anyone online? Okay, let's take it back to the council.
Yeah, Tony, thank you so much for being here. And yeah, we look forward to updates and so forth. We really appreciate the cooperation and the partnership between the Water District and the town of Yucca Valley. We're all in this together, of course, and we have been supporting you and through the process as well as you're supporting the town. So it's been a really good collaborative effort. Quality drinking water is so vitally important, and it's as soon as we can get the higher populated areas onto the sewer and the wastewater treatment system, the better quality of water we're going to have, and it just makes sense. So I appreciate the Department of Fish and Game. I appreciate those that gave you the extension of that monies. I thank you for just getting that grant money. That's a huge gift to the community, and everybody would have been assessed a whole lot more had we not gotten that money. So even those in phase one will be benefiting from this grant that we've received. And again, they'll benefit from clean water. So thank you again. And anytime I've ever had interactions with your staff, I've even come to your board meetings before, your people on the ground, super accommodating, very good about communicating, dealing with, you disturb someone's road and getting in and out of their home. It can be very stressful. People have different issues, but they've done a great job, and I look forward to that continuing. So just pass that on to everybody on the ground and the front lines, how much it's recognized, and you got kudos for it publicly because of their efforts.
I appreciate it.
Anyone else?
Sure. I just want to say I was very pleased with the phase one of the sewer system, and you're using the same group to do that again.
Yes.
They were very accommodating to the citizens, and they put very good effort into it, and it was excellently done, and I'm looking forward to this phase 2. Now, you're starting in the country club area.
Yep.
What's the next, where would you go after that?
So it goes up toward Story Park area,
Okay,
up over here, yeah. And then I'll move to the west, or
Then it'll
east,
move to
sorry,
the
east,
west.
sorry.
Okay.
No, move east, sorry.
all right, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing it happen.
Yes, Councilmember Dennis.
Yeah, thank you, Tony, for giving us an update, and I'll look forward to the future ones. I know that, as you said, you're new to the position, and you're doing a swell job. I appreciate that. It's a huge undertaking. This is one of the biggest projects, infrastructure projects, for health and safety in our community. And I know there's not also in line with this, you're doing work up on the mesa too. So I know your crews are very efficient. There's not you have small, efficient crews, and I appreciate that. You're keeping cost control there, and also you're putting in the product. So number one thing for us is to ensure the safety, and that means the health of our community. So keep up the good work. I really appreciate it, and I'd like to just take a shout out to the community itself for supporting Measure Z, which helps offset these sewer costs for you and pays at least 50% of the current assessment that you have. And so great work, keep it up, and I appreciate your entire team and also all the work that Jennifer and her team has put together to get us to this point also politically.
Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Tony. We appreciate it, and good luck on the project.
Yeah,
We're all looking forward to it.
it'll go good. All right. It's good, so we got a good team, so we're good. Thank you.
Thank
you,
you.
Curtis.
It's necessary.
Now we're looking for the approval of the agenda.
Mayor and council, seeing that there are so many people here for item number 13, I would like to move or suggest that we move item 13 to the first department report. That's my motion.
Mayor, if I might recommend that we do take item number 12, which is our Aquatic Center quarterly report. It's a relatively short report, but we do have online participation that we'd like to be able to conclude that. So we can, if what I'm hearing is correct, the agenda would be reflected with one additional change. Item 4, we would ask that be continued to the upcoming meeting on August 19th. I believe that's the next meeting. Is that right, Leslie, or is it August 17th?
August 19th.
August 19th. That item 4 would be continued to August 19th. And then we would hear item number 12, and we would take item 13 and ultimately come back to item 11, then come back to item 10 and 12.
Yes, the public hearing. Okay, I make that motion.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Councilmembers Abel,
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Droz.
Yes. Okay, so let's move on to the consent agenda. Is there anyone in the public that would like to make a comment on the consent agenda? We'll take it back to the council. Anyone want to pull an item or move it forward?
Mayor, staff would like to take number 5 out for discussion.
Sure.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda excluding item number 5.
Dennison will second.
And for the record, in the
And
prior
4.
motion, item 4 has been continued.
Okay.
Okay, so scratching 4 and 5.
So Councilmember Dennison, you were the mover? You moved?
I moved, we remove item number 5, and we are continuing item 4 at a later date.
Okay.
And then Dennison, second.
Okay.
Correct, I agree.
All right. Councilmembers Abel.
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Lombardo.
Yes.
Schooler.
Yes.
And Mayor Droz.
Yes. So are we discussing number 5 now?
Yeah, just a correction that is we would like to note on the staff report that was presented to the council. In the body of the staff report, there was a sentence that was added about that project is not completed, and that there is a bunch item list that is, still pending, but we'd like to correct that. That is, all the items for that project is being completed. So just to note it and have it in the minutes, that is, the project has been completely done, completed.
Completely.
That's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So do we need to,
If there's no further discussion, I'll approve item number 5.
And Dennison will second.
Council members Abel.
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Lombardo.
Yes.
Schooler.
Yes.
And Mayor Droz.
yes. So to be clear, are we doing the public hearing now? No, we're skipping the public hearing. Department reports. So we'll go with number 12 right now,
11.
Yes, correct.
4th of July,
So we'll be doing the Aquatic Center quarterly review.
11.
Number 11.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The item before you tonight is the Aquatic Center quarterly project update. And with us, we have online our consultant from Dallin Group that will be presenting that item. Jen, you there? Okay.
Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, thank you. Hello and good evening. It's great to be here again. If you're not at the last council meeting, my name is Jen Minkia and I am the project manager with Dolan, working in collaboration with the town of Yucca Valley on the Yucca Valley Aquatic and Recreation Center. So together we have been overseeing the project along SafeWork, who is the construction manager, HMC, the architect of record, RC Construction, who is your general contractor, and it is my pleasure to present to you the 4th quarterly update to the town. So this quarterly update takes us from April to the end of June of this year, and the purpose of this update is to provide a project overview of the construction progress and the developments on the town's future aquatic facility. So as you may be aware, this facility will provide the community with a recreation pool, a water play area, locker facilities, gymnasium, multi-purpose rooms, and outdoor gathering spaces. So June was a big month. If you saw the last update, we were still mostly in the ground, and it probably seemed like we were just moving a lot of dirt around. We have been shifting from groundwork to more vertical construction. So as you'll see in a moment, we now have walls, which is very exciting, and you can physically see the layout starting to take form on the site. We wrapped up the concrete block walls in 3 major sections of A, B, and C, and there's a little plan at the bottom of that page. A is the lobby, gymnasium, and multi-purpose rooms. B includes the natatorium, which is your indoor swimming pool. And C is the pool equipment room and your locker facilities. Also, what happened in this last quarter, the bottom of the pool, which is the slab, was poured. We also finished this shotcrete on the pool walls, and this is the process of spraying concrete on those curved pool surfaces. A big visual milestone, structural steel framing started and going up in section A, and then steel columns and roof beams were installed. So now you can start to see the skeleton of the building. Sorry, I'm still on that first page, but feel free to kind of show some images. We wrapped up June by officially moving out of the ground in multiple areas, and progress is moving steadily. Now that framing is underway, things will start to move faster and look more like a finished building. So for some of the upcoming activities, for structural steel and the roof framing will continue. We'll keep building upward in all areas of A, B, and C. Steel beams and roof framing will continue to go up, and very quickly it will start to look more like a real building. After the steel is up, we'll lay down metal decking, which is the base layer of that roof, and then concrete will be poured on top of that. Crews for HVAC, this is your mechanical discipline. Electrical and plumbing will start mobilizing on site. They'll run pipes, wires, and ductwork for the interior of the building. And then they'll also start cutting openings in the roof deck for vents, drains, skylights, and other connections. And this will all be in coordination with the structural work occurring. And eventually, we will see the transition of moving from heavy-duty structure work into more detailed systems. So there'll be big progress visually and behind the scenes. So all of this work will set the stage for the walls, finishes, and equipment. So if you want to actually start back at the beginning of those photos there. Oh. Sorry, do you want to go to slide 2? Sorry. There we go. So here we see the start of the block walls. You can see the starter walls, and this is where the preparation of the installation of the walls. Next slide. And next we see the underground trenching for utilities and rebar prep for the pool. Next slide. And here we'll see multiple things going on in this photo. We see that there's continued installation of the block walls beyond, but we're also looking at the pool, and you can see that the pool slab has been poured, and they are prepping for the shotcrete, which are the vertical surfaces. And then next slide. And then here's another shot of the concrete slab pour of the pool. This is kind of a fun image because you can see just how many people are involved for a pour of this size. And you can even see that the pump truck is actually currently, pouring concrete. So this is how you pour a large amount of concrete in a pretty big area. You have a pump truck. So they're able to move that arm and pour concrete where needed. Next photo. Here in section A, the block walls have been erected, and we can see the placement of the steel framing on the roof. Next slide. And then this is another shot of section A, where the installation of the steel for the low roof. And the next slide. So we have a couple of time lapses. This is the northwest section of the site. This will take us from the very start of construction to now, which we are a little bit beyond the fourth quarter. So end of June, but this is actually going a little into July. So we can see some of the excavation work, lots of dirt getting moved around, demo, the start of the foundations, the rebar being from those foundations, prep for the slab pours. Slab has been poured. Now we start to see vertical movement.
Wow.
So that will take us to the end of today. Yep, and now we're looking at the northeast side. You can go ahead and play that. And here we start to see some demo, and then we'll see a lot of earthwork going on. See those starter walls start to getting erected. preparation for the slab, walls going up. Thank you. And then if you want to go on to the next slide. So lastly, we have some project stats on the contract schedules and overall construction progress. To summarize, this quarter we hit some major milestones in sections A, B, and C. All the block walls are now done. In section A, the roof steel is going up and moving along right on schedule. Over in section B, the pool is really coming together. Bottom slab of the pool and concrete walls are in, and all of the underground plumbing for the pool is completed. We're still on track to wrap up the full project by June of 2026. And the big takeaway for at the end of quarter 4 is we are at 50% complete and only have 364 calendar days remaining for project completion. So a lot more work to do, but we are making great progress. Thank you.
So Mayor and
Thank you, Jen.
Council, that is conclude the staff report on this project. So we'll be more than happy to answer questions following public comments.
All right, is there anyone in the public in this room right here that would like to comment on this item? No one? Is there anyone online? Anyone online? No. So let's take it back to the council. Yeah, I think this is great. Great progress. So anybody want to say anything?
Yeah, I was there today, and it really is amazing progress, and the metal work gives you a lot better definition of what it's going to be in completion, and it's pretty exciting to see it moving along. I like the time-lapse photos that they've taken. It's going to make a great story in the future when we go back and look at it. I'm excited.
Great. Anyone else? No?
I've heard a lot of positive comments from the community on this, and I appreciate the report. It's very thorough, and I look forward to it as much as anybody else, watching the progress just about every day. So thanks for the report.
Thank you, Jen. We appreciate your time. Great report.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on. Are we skipping item 12 for now? So we'll go to item 13, Animal Shelter Operational Review. Before we start, let me make a few clarifications. As we begin agenda item number 13, I want to note for the record that the town clerk has forwarded public comment received prior to the meeting to the town council for the record. So we have your public comments, and we've looked at them already. And so let's ask, may we have the staff report?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. The recommended action before you this evening is that the Town Council receives and files the update on the town's animal shelter operations, and 2, provides input and direction as desired. As the council will recall, and for IT folks, it seems as though we're skipping pages each time. So for some reason, it's jumping over some pages. As the council will recall, we have 5 key performance measures that the council used in the draft operational review. Those are animal outcomes, best practices alignment, resource allocation, regulatory compliance, and community engagement. The council identified action steps in each one of those categories. So I'm going to briefly walk through status on those action steps, also touch a little bit on what the schedule is for others. We're going to do a little bit of a tag team this evening. Brooke is going to jump in and talk a little bit about web page, social media, and media outreach. And then we'll continue on through the presentation. Community engagement, just going to touch real quick on this slide. This is taken directly from your draft operational review. This addressed the Town Council Standing Committee, the volunteer policy, volunteer positions and recruitment, donor and donor recognition programs, spay and neuter vaccination clinics, coordination with the county, customer service surveys, and how is the shelter performing, looking at animal control fees, and then finally expanded use of local media to market adoptable animals. Now we're not moving at all, folks. Very good, thank you, I appreciate it. Standing committee has been formed by the Town Council. Their first meeting is going to be held in August of this year. The Town Council has adopted the volunteer policy, which took place at your meeting of June 24th. Volunteer positions and recruitment, in your adopted operational review, that recruitment process is scheduled to occur in either August or September of this year. Establishing donor and donor recognition programs, that's scheduled for January of 2026. There have been very gracious donors to shelter programs, and we want to thank them for those efforts and their assistance in helping the shelter adopt animals out successfully. Implementation of spay, neuter, and vaccination clinics. The first clinic was held on June 24th, and we are currently working with Animal Action League for a schedule in October of this year for the second event. Encourage the county to also hold county spay, neuter, and vaccination clinics. That's ongoing in communications between the town and the county. Maximize customer feedback on performance. That's a new survey tool. We've had a manual piece of paper survey tool. We want to make that electronic, get it on the webpage, make it much easier for folks to use. Review animal control fees. That's scheduled for upcoming town council meetings. Staff has walked through that process in terms of adoption fees as well as a couple other categories, and those items are ready to come forward to the town council. And then, of course, on community engagement, expanding the use of local media to market the shelter and its programs. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Brooke and have Brooke walk through some activities that have been underway for a few months, as well as some new information available on the town's webpage.
Hello, good evening, Mayor and Council members. So I'll walk you through our town's web page. We're doing some website outreach, really focusing on improving our transparency and access to information for the public. So if you scroll down a little bit, we have clearly organized the animals into 3 categories, and all of our animals are on our website. So if you click on the adoptable pets and scroll down slowly, oh, maybe hit a refresh. There we go. So you can see our, this will link straight to our pet finder, which has 73 animals that are available for adoption right now. Actually, I don't think, we might have, oh, there we go, okay. If you go hit the back button to our webpage, there we go. Our next category are rescue release only. And then hovering over will give a little bit of information. Calling the shelter directly is the best for getting any information about the animals more detailed. But this is live on our website right now so that everybody can see any animals that are available for adoption. And then if you go back to the shelter page, we have our stray and founds. Now these ones are going to be our stray holds, any animals brought in to the shelter. Yeah, so it says where they were found. If they were an owner turn-in, they have a specific day for how many days we hold them. After their hold time is up, then they'll, if they are not claimed, they are evaluated to be moved to the adoptable page. Okay. Can go back to this.
So this is on the town's webpage.
This is on the town's webpage right now.
These are the 3 categories, and there are currently how many animals on the page today?
I don't remember off the top. I know we have 73 adoptables, and then we update those regularly, including right before the meeting.
I think we were right around 140 total animals, approximately. That number changes every day. And for the council's information, in a perfect world, as we understand, we all know, these numbers do change on a daily basis between intakes and those that are adopted or sent out to rescue groups. So in a perfect world, photographs are taken of the new animals that have come in. Those go to staff. Those get uploaded with the description. The animals that have left the shelter, those get removed. There will be times when the page is not 100% up to date. For example, County Animal Control brings in animals late on a Friday, a Saturday, or a Sunday. County Animal Control doesn't have access to the town's computerized system. That has to be addressed by town staff. That will happen within a day or two after that has occurred, typically on Monday or Tuesday. So at times there will be lags, but the goal is for this information to be current on a daily basis, and it's current at that moment in time that the changes have been made. 10 minutes later, it may be out of date, but that's just the nature of the business.
Going back to our outreach, so beyond the website, we are also continuing to partner with High Desert Star and C1077. Those are a couple recent ads that were posted in the High Desert Star, and then snapshots from the Z107 website. We are doing radio spots as well as online for their internet banners and ads. Our recent adoption events, we participated in the National Adopt a Shelter Pet Day, also the California Adopt a Pet Day. We are preparing for our Clear the Shelter event in August, and then we also have some town events, which is the school's out for summer. We had our Mayflowers, and then our current one right now, which is the Summertime Spectacular, going on now to the end of July. We have also increased our social media presence, really pushing that, getting posts regarding appreciation posts, our Pet of the Week, really spotlighting that, some holiday posts, and some tips and care for animals as well. And then at the mayor's request, we have added in this little promotion, our Soda with the Mayor free adoption, pet adoption, which has gone over great, and there's a lovely adoption photo there of a family who was able to adopt. That's Bear, and he just recently got adopted.
So I do want to recognize Brooke, and I didn't tell her I was going to do this while we were standing here. Brooke's primary function is support staff to Public Works and engineering. Brooke stepped up pretty much voluntarily when we started the operational review process, and has been full-time, for the most part, full-time animal shelter support staff. She's been responsible for all the social media, the flyers that have gone out, the update on the Facebook page, and she has done the yeoman's job of getting photos of every single animal at the shelter on the webpage as of today. So I just want to acknowledge Brooke that she, with assistance from shelter staff, has made this possible. These changes would not have occurred without Brooke, and I want to recognize her for that. Going on to best practices alignment, review and purchase a new field and shelter software. There are 5 or 6 different software programs that we are looking at. And I know that there's individuals in the community that would like to see us moving faster in that direction. We need to evaluate the software to make sure it meets our needs and it's a software that's usable for the next 10 years. We don't want to step into a software program and 3 years later have to make another change. So we're taking our time on that, going to be doing it very carefully so it works well for the town's needs as well as public information. We want to have that underway and functional by the end of this calendar year. Daily online information for all animals at the shelter. I think you've seen us talking about that tonight. Foster programs scheduled for January of 26. Volunteer programs, we've already talked about that, August and September recruitment of this year. Provide professional training for staff. There are some minimal training efforts that are required. PC 832, powers of arrest. Your field officers have to be able to issue citations. Euthanasia certification is required as a part of that process, but there are, I'll refer to it as humane officer training programs that are available as well, and we want to make that or those opportunities available to both our shelter as well as our field staff. And that scheduling is currently underway. And then we've talked already about implementing spay and neuter vaccination programs, and that will be continuing on. Again, here's where we've talked about, and I just mentioned these items that are currently underway. The outside training occurs, the two of the more, I think, well-recognized programs occur through the San Diego Humane Society as well as the California Animal Welfare Association. Budget, I'm just going to summarize here that as we move forward with all of these changes, we are watching the budget. We'll be reporting to the council on any significant changes. The council saw the preliminary numbers that were necessary to implement these changes when the draft operational review was presented to the town council, and we're continuing to move forward with that process. You may see at different times on upcoming town council agendas where budget amendments are before you for shelter operations. As part of that process, just want to mention and thank the council for allowing us to have an increase in our temporary part-time staff of 5 positions, as well as the creation of a new full-time position, which we are currently in the process of recruiting for. So again, you will see budgetary information coming before the town council as this process moves forward. Regulatory compliance includes holding periods for both owned and stray animals, making adoptable dogs being made available to the public. That includes cat as defined by state law. Staff follows that state law in terms of what a definition of an adoptable animal is. Staff outreach to owned animals based upon available information. So when that animal comes in and is microchipped, staff does make their best effort to find that owner and hopefully reunite the owner with that lost pet. And then local regulation review, and the council had prior discussions about surrendered animals, after-hour kennels, days of the week operation, and daily hours operations of the Yucca Valley shelter. All of those things continuing to move forward. Animal outcomes, talk about adoption rates, euthanasia rates, maximizing rescue group outreach, spay-neuter clinics, coordinating with the county, maximizing return to owners where possible, and public education. So what has happened since this process has started? I just want to touch on a couple different statistics. Adoption rates for 2024 were at 18.19%. January through June of 2025, the adoption rate has increased to 32.6%. This is for dogs. Return to owner, we'd indicated we don't anticipate a significant change in return to owner numbers based upon the economy and inflation and the cost of animal ownership and veterinarian costs and feed costs. In 2024, we're at 15.75%. This year, for 6 months of this year, that's gone to 18.51%. A little bit of a jump, but not a significant change in numbers. Euthanasia rate, as previously reported in 2024, the euthanasia rate was at 53.76%. In the first 6 months, January through June of 2025, the euthanasia rate has been lowered to 24.59% for dogs. Transfer to rescue, a very low percentage in 2024. Looks like a huge jump, 9% jump. The number was so small in 2024, the percentage is misleading. So there has been a little bit more activity, but again, it's still a relatively small number. And as we've previously indicated, to really change the positive outcome numbers for the shelter, our rescue group program really needs to be expanded. We put into the PowerPoint, let me go back. It didn't go backwards. If anybody needs a copy of the PowerPoint program, we have the full data for disposition in 2024, 2025 within that report. Finally, peer review. The draft operational review has been sent out to 5 public agencies. That includes Riverside County, San Bernardino County, City of Moreno Valley, Town of Apple Valley, City of Rancho Cucamonga, for review by their staff and comment back to us, and that process is underway. That concludes my comments and brief update to the town council. The town manager has a few comments that he would like to make before we close this item out this evening.
Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Brooke, for the comments on that. I think some of the information that we shared hopefully is very positive. But as we conclude the update item for you this evening, Council, I do want to take a few minutes to address a recent transfer of one of the shelter dogs to a local rescue partner. After that transfer occurred, that dog was subsequently named Howdy, and I'm thinking that's probably what you'll hear quite a bit of public comment on. After reviewing the facts surrounding the release of the dog to the local rescue group, there are more questions than there are answers from my perspective and also from what I've heard from you as a council. Quite frankly, the town missed the mark quite badly in the care and shelter of the dog while it was in our possession. Questions that I've heard from the council: what basic level of care are we providing for the animals in the shelter? Other questions I've heard from the council: what level of training are we providing on a regular basis for shelter employees for no one to notice or act? These are valid questions that I think beg answers. As you've heard the discussion tonight, it's all the more frustrating for the town as substantial progress has been made in implementing the town council's 32 directives for improvement. And we've made some significant improvements in live outcome as we presented to you this evening. While we've made that positive impact and those positive improvements, the lack of care for Howdy has set the town back significantly in our effort to implement best practices. As town manager, I am ultimately responsible for shelter operations, and I am very concerned about our ability to accurately and independently identify and execute the necessary actions required to implement best practices at the shelter. As I've thought through this, I've come up with 5 specific recommendations for your consideration tonight as you think about and hear public comment. Number 1, I believe that we need to engage the services of a qualified veterinarian to regularly observe and assess animal health within the shelter and recommended actions as needed. Secondly, I believe we need to take any and all actions necessary to thoroughly investigate, evaluate, and review any claims against the shelter or shelter staff regarding neglect, lack of care, or other serious charges brought against the shelter. Third, and importantly, the town council recommendation would be to launch your animal care and control standing committee starting in August, so that there is a regular and identified time for both the committee and public engagement in required operational changes. 4, identify and engage a third-party independent review and assessment of daily operations in the shelter to evaluate technical and operational deficiencies or vulnerabilities in our best practices. And then finally, in collaboration with San Bernardino County, evaluate the operating structure for the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter, including potential continued town operation or contract operations or partnership operations with other nonprofit entities. We've identified those recommendations for you on the screen. I believe if agreed to by the town council through execution of these specific steps, the town can identify the best path forward for the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter in the near, mid, and long-term operational horizons. So with that, Mayor, I would suggest that the town council ask any questions of staff that might assist you in your deliberations and actions, which obviously you will do after public comment.
All right. Well, actually, I would like the town council to ask you questions before public comment, so we can...
You're welcome to ask questions, and then presumably you would want to hear public comment before you deliberate.
Yes, okay. So let's make this very clear to the council. We're just only to ask questions, no opinions. Let's just, if we have any questions of staff, let's ask the questions. So let's start with that. And I'll start. I have two. Spay and neuter clinic. Do we have the date for the next one?
No, Animal Action League will not establish their October schedule until the month of August. So that date is not yet determined or available. So the schedule is for October, but Animal Action League is not scheduling any dates in October at this time. They won't be scheduling October dates till the month of August.
Was that supposed to be monthly, though?
No, sir.
No, okay. I thought
No, we, in the budgetary analysis or preliminary budget numbers that we had presented to you as part of the operational review, there were 3 to 4 per year in that total number. So quarterly, again, the council will have the opportunity to discuss budget throughout the course of the year.
Next question, our volunteers, when we start the program, for their live scan, do they have to pay it, or will the town pay for the live scan?
The town pays for the live scan.
All right, thank you. Okay, who else? Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. The spay and neuter, again, you talked about, you showed a chart about 2024, and then you showed a chart from January to June, how we made progress. Did we have any spay and neuter programs in 2024?
No, the town did not run any spay-neuter vaccination clinics in 2024.
Okay, and then we are in partnership with the county. We're in communication with them to see if they would be willing to add a few spay and neuter events as well?
In staff's opinion, for that program to be truly effective in the Morongo Basin, the county needs to offer the similar service to the county residents. Yes, sir.
Okay. Educate me a little bit about, perhaps Brooke can answer it, or anybody has the technology aspect. I saw that we did pictures of our dogs, the adoptable ones and so forth, which takes a lot of time and effort. And Brooke, I thank you for your volunteering, your hours as well. It really shows that you have this compassion and you're willing to put in the time. Once we do establish volunteers, is that site able to have a video clip of that dog as well? Could volunteers help do a short video as well as the picture? Does that site accept video?
That's something we can look at, and that's something we'll have to look at with the licensing software, because as we transition to the licensing software, that's what's going to be putting in the digital imagery. So we'll have to evaluate that as part of the software review process.
Okay. And Mayor, you received free vouchers for adoption. How many did you receive, and do you have any left?
I have a lot left. I received 10 last month at Soda with the Mayor, and all 10 were given out. Last week I received 25, I believe, and only 3 have been given out. But I've been asking a lot of people, but if anyone here in the public wants a free voucher, I have them in my car, so just contact me after.
All right, very good. Just a question. Brooke, on there you had the days of turn-in, the strays, they're found, and it says how many weeks or something. We have a hold date. Does it say the date we received that dog? So, like you said, if I click on it, I know how many days it's been there? Is it the date?
The date is not on there. It's in the number, the impound number on it. I don't know if we're able to pull it up real quick.
Ultimately, When the software has been implemented, that information will be right there.
Okay.
Very legibly read. It is embedded in the impound numbering system today. But again, folks can just reach out to staff as well.
Okay, and the rescue release only, can you remind me or the public again on how a dog or cat is placed in the rescue release only program?
Those animals that have been evaluated, the animals are all evaluated by staff, and a determination is made as to do they fit the state definition of an adoptable animal. If they do not meet that state definition of adoptable animal, they are placed into the rescue group listing.
So perhaps a dog is turned in, but we don't know the history?
So
It's evaluated?
are we on the rescue group page?
Correct, this is the.
So let's take the one that the cursor's on right now, aggressive with female dogs. There's probably more detail available.
The rescue group
but
could get it, yeah.
that we have on file. This is what we're able to put up electronically on the page. But there are aggression issues which cause staff to determine this animal to not be available for public adoption.
Okay, and then we're also talking about a foster program. How is that different?
So a foster program is designed to function where an individual that is fostering is functioning as an extension of shelter staff. So we sign the paperwork, they have possession of Pal, let's say Pal, the German Shepherd. That foster owner, that foster parent is marketing on their social media and they're outreaching, trying to find someone to adopt that animal. So they're functioning as an extension of shelter staff. That gets an animal out of the shelter, it gets it out of that stressful environment, it gets it out of a potentially diseased environment, gets it into a home, gets it into a more relaxed, comfortable atmosphere, and that individual works on finding a new owner for that animal.
So that could be an individual who signs up to be a foster
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then they also have to sign a release of liability that if
There's
that dog.
there's standard paperwork on every adoption, and that is included, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Those are my questions.
All right, anyone else up here? A question, comment?
Yeah, just one comment for staff here. As we look and categorize some of the animals that come into the shelter, we're kind of looking at the health of them, the aggression of them possibly, and then also are they adoptable immediately? So they kind of, how do we rate these animals as a first view, and later do we follow that up after some time of getting them to, relax a little bit better to their environment? Is there a way that we know how they jump in these categories and get placed in that spot? Do we use a rating system?
So staff makes that determination based upon their observations, and are they able to interact with that animal safely? And if one staff member is not successful at that, they will try other staff members. They will go through every staff member to see whether they can have that comfortable setting with that animal. So they use that standard process in making those determinations.
And then would they also follow up with that too? Is there a time period, or would that just be normal, their daily check to see how they're presenting themselves to the staff?
They see that on a daily basis as the staff is working through the shelter as part of the normal operations.
Because my concern is that we don't have a method to where the animals may be pigeonholed with their personality and not, it might have just been a temporary thing. So thank you. We'll look for that.
All right, go ahead, Councilmember Schooler.
Yeah, just one question. Town manager recommended a veterinarian alliance, and how does that differ from what we've had in the past or currently have with regard to a relationship with a veterinarian?
So there, to my understanding, has never been a veterinarian that has been asked to be at the shelter and to review the animals on an individual basis at the shelter. Our relationships with the local vets, for example, there's one that's on the stray list that came in last Friday that we took to the local vet today due to its condition. That's been our relationship with veterinarian services. You'll see it's very common in publicly operated shelters that veterinarians play a much higher role in reviewing the condition of the animals inside those shelters. So we've reached out, we've had conversations to get that process started with the city of Rancho Cucamonga, who has those services available to them, as well as San Bernardino County. We're hoping to implement this at least on an interim basis till we have the ability, whether we go out to bid or approach it some other way. We are trying to get that process moving as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have one more question.
I had a question.
Oh, do you want to go first?
Oh, it's fine, go ahead.
Okay. When somebody adopts an animal, do they get a packet about like maybe something like how to care for them properly or something like that?
They do.
Okay,
Yeah, there's a full packet of information when they walk out the door with their new animal.
great, thank you.
You're welcome.
My question was in regards to the veterinarian. Again, we haven't yet determined what kind of functions we want the vet to do other than an occasional view of the animals in the shelter, or is it going to be a monthly or a weekly kind of thing?
Recommendations that we've identified right now are high level. As we begin, and depending on the council's direction on those recommendations, if your direction was to move forward, then we would begin to flush out what that looks like.
Okay, great.
All right, is that it for the council? Okay, so we'll have more to say later. So as we move on to public comment, please be courteous. That's really important and respectful during everyone's comments. All council members want to be able to hear and understand everyone's comments. The town has rules of decorum, which we follow. Please make sure to direct your comments to the mayor and council and not to staff or other members of the public. Additionally, at this time, for any and all public comments on this agenda item, public comment is like right now for this item. But when we have the, the public comments at the end of the meeting, so we have our comments right after this item, but then we have the public comments at the end of the meeting. As stated before, we've been kind of lax on this. We've allowed you to comment at the end of the meeting. But remember, you're not supposed to comment on anything that is on the agenda. At the public comment section at the end of the meeting, you're supposed to comment on items that were not on the agenda. So you have 3 minutes to make your comments. And then at the end of the meeting, you cannot comment again on the same item if it's about the animal shelter. So use your 3 minutes wisely, and I will let you know when you're done with your 3 minutes. So let's start public comments. So I don't know who's first. Let's start with who's here in public, and then we'll go to online. So who's first, Leslie?
Thank you, Mayor. We have several requests to speak. First is Michael Kennedy, and then following, we'll have Cynthia Lopez.
I'm Mike Kennedy, and I'm not just another pretty face. What concerns me about many things that are going on here, you've heard from me before, but I love that we all stood up and talked about one nation under God. My God would not tolerate abuse of animals. I don't know who else's God would. We have dominion and control of the animals, but we're supposed to take care of them. And what's been going on here has not been taking care of them, it's been abusing them. Now, I think we should look at what the law is on this, because there are felonies that are being committed here. And I intend to go to the Attorney General and request that he take over the investigation, because the district attorney is obviously not doing so. A person who maliciously or intentionally, those are actually the same, legislators don't really know the law, intentionally kills an animal is guilty of crimes punishable in subdivision B. A person who deprives necessary sustenance, drink, or shelter to an animal, or deprives sustenance, drink, and shelter to other animals, or whoever having the charge and custody of an animal, either as owner or otherwise, subjects an animal to needless suffering, inflicts unnecessary cruelty, or in any manner abuses an animal, or fails to provide the animal with proper food, drink, shelter, or protection, is guilty of a crime punishable pursuant to subdivision D. And subdivision D says those who do those things commit a felony. Now, I know the question is, well, wait a minute, we're not doing that, somebody else is doing it. But see, you all are the custodians of that shelter. It's not something out there, and there's no civil service defense to those felonies. And it reminds me of Charles Manson. He didn't kill anybody. He didn't kill anybody. He sponsored the killing, and he became a murderer. And those who allow it pay for the people who do it, tolerate it, when it's in their custody, are as responsible as the person doing it. And I think there's lots of investigations that should be done here. It's outrageous.
Thank you, Michael. Who's next?
Cynthia Lopez, and then Greg Gendron.
Howdy, everyone. My name is Cynthia Lopez. I've lived in Yucca Valley. I'm a homeowner since 2017. I noticed all that work Brooke did. Doug Smith's name was never mentioned once. He's not here to present anything on that elaborate, detailed, and brand-new website. Thank you so much, Michael Kennedy. That was a great kickoff to the comments. I just wanted to read a couple comments here because there are other people that comment online and social media. It's not just us here that are really disgusted by what we see going on. And I just did want to mention that after we saw what happened with Howdy, there has been no mention of any remorse. No apology that I've heard tonight. We are so sorry this happened. This is heartbreaking. This is devastating. These are the comments that we're seeing in social media, but not in here. So here's a comment after the whole Howdy story broke. Neglected and ignored. This poor dog should have been groomed and evaluated. Matting is painful. Been at the shelter since March. I am beyond disgusted with the shelter manager. I am concerned why anyone who this dog on a daily basis didn't speak up. They should be their biggest advocates. I'm disappointed in the 90-day evaluation team who didn't stop to give this dog much needed care. I've so much to say, but I won't at this time. That's from Carrie Drost. Here's another response. There was a post that went up on Nextdoor that was regarding Shane Stuckel's failure to oversee the shelter for years. Well, it's becoming clear that the reason Shane doesn't want the manager, Doug Smith of the shelter, to come to one of these meetings is because he would let the cat out of the bag, exposing the city managers knew all about the staff shortage, lack of computers, and high kill rates, and did nothing about it. It's the same reason they don't want volunteers up there. They know the place is a death camp, and the stuff would really hit the fan when a volunteer spills the beans about the house of horrors they've created. It is a complete dereliction of duty on the city council's part that this whole situation has continued as long as it has. Time to dust off the pitchforks and torches for the next council meeting. So these are just a couple. I've got pages of them. I think it's really nice that everyone's patting themselves on the back for all the work that's been done since we saw poor little Howdy basically left for dead. But these are issues. All this response, it was really nice what Curtis said, but that should have happened when I first came here in March, beginning of March. That's it for me.
Thank you.
Greg Gendron, followed by Sandra Hamlin.
Greg Gendron, Yucca Valley, 2017. That's pretty much my message. Nobody mentions this guy's name. Howdy, everybody. I'm here to talk about Doug Smith. You know Doug Smith, the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter manager that's totally failed our community? Animals under his care are continually being neglected, abused, and unnecessarily euthanized due to his incompetence and refusing outside resources and assistance. Doug Smith has failed our community's expectation for what we were promised by the town of Yucca Valley on your own websites, that our animal shelter would, quote, provide compassionate care for our animal friends at the highest standard, that it would, quote, provide stray and surrendered animals a caring and safe environment, that it would, quote, strive to ensure the protection, health, and safety of animals. As the community and news media have now discovered and exposed publicly, none of that's true. Why are you wasting our time and gaslighting the community? What role is the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter Manager, Doug Smith, going to play in all of this operational action items you're promising to implement? None. New software, adoption events, foster programs, outreach programs, community engagement, community education, owner surrender education, volunteer programs, none. He's no part of any of this. If he is, we've not been told anything about it. All of these items will require Doug Smith to work with the community. The community detests and despises Doug Smith. Doug Smith has said he doesn't like the community. I've heard it from tons of people that are out in the community in the business world. This is a big joke to him. Doug Smith has not attended one single town council meeting that has had the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter agenda items on it. Doug Smith's name has not even been spoken once by any of the town council members, the town manager, or his immediate supervisor and ringleader of this whole appalling mess, Shane Stuckel. Are you all afraid of Doug Smith? Why are you avoiding Doug Smith? What is wrong with you guys? Fire Doug Smith. Doug Smith's management methods and refusal to allow help from outside agencies in the community has failed the animal shelter for almost 10 years now. As a community member in this audience pointed out in the last meeting, the fact that this operational review had to take place with all the poor performance findings is just the town of Yucca Valley's admission of that. All of these responsibilities and the robust operational overhaul of the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter cannot be done without heavy involvement from Doug Smith, the animal shelter manager, Doug Smith. You, the town council and management, cannot expect our Yucca Valley voting community to accept this. It's completely absurd and, quite frankly, very disrespectful. We demand that you replace Doug Smith as animal shelter manager, or as his specific town of Yucca Valley title reads, animal care and control manager.
Thank you.
Sandra Hamlin, followed by Peter Spur.
Getting kind of back to Jeff's, comments on this agenda. I want to address one specific that I think.
Can we turn on her microphone?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can.
Well, I thought you could.
Well, we could before, so.
All right, and that is simply that, does the staffing that you anticipate address the kind of issue that gave me my wonderful dog, Hildy, who 40 people met this weekend, okay? And that is because at the public donation-supported Joshua Tree no-kill shelter, Hildy arrived with a man who was in tears because he had no place to live and he was homeless because his moneyed partner had died. The family had evicted him and he had come here and lived with a relative who had a cat. Hildy, whose name was Lily then, she's no Lily, is she? They all met her, she knows. She was no Lily. She was a very assertive dog and a very smart dog. but she was also a therapy dog. And she was trained that the bed was her owner's, last, resort. And the owner's cat got in the room where it wasn't supposed to be allowed, and Hildy pounced. Lily pounced. And Lily pounced on the cat. And unfortunately, the cat died. The cat went to a vet. When the crying owner, who would not release the dog, he came and cried every day, wanted to know if anybody was going to release the dog. And the owner said she wasn't sure, or the manager, Angel, who was an angel, decided to find out what the heck was going on. And Angel called the vet, but treated not the dog, but the cat, and said the cat had not been mauled. There was no biting of the cat. She had merely evicted the cat from the bed. She had pounced on the cat. So finally, she became my Hildy, and I sent good messages to the man who was her owner. And she is one terrific dog. I've had her 6 years now, and she's my companion. She's not well, but she is my message, and she's not the only reason why I'm here. I'm here because our town owes better than this, and I want to thank you guys. Thank you very much for initiating the changes. My question for you, how many of those changes were in progress when we got loud at the beginning of this year?
Thank you.
Sandra Hamlin, and then Peter Spur. Go first.
Hello, howdy. My name is Sandra Hamlin, and I'm here for all the other howdies that aren't here tonight, for reasons some of us really have no idea. I brought my 16-year-old granddaughter here from Sacramento, because when she heard about this, she said to me, "How did this happen? Why did this cruelty prevail?" She's 16, and I thought, I'll bring her and let you guys tell her the answer. She's holding a poster of all of my dogs who were rescues. They were all in a shelter, frightened, scared, growled, barked. Would Doug Smith have said they're not adoptable and put them up for the euthanasia list? Okay, in healthcare we have a saying, and it says, if you didn't know, you should have known because it's your responsibility to know. Who didn't know? And why did it take all of this to bring it to your attention? I don't understand. I really don't. You've embarrassed the town, you've embarrassed all of us, and you've made us all sad. And shame on you. That's all.
Thank you, Sandra. Next.
Peter Spur, and then we'll have Melissa Spur.
Howdy, my name is Peter Spur. I'm a 21-year resident of Joshua Tree. And while I prepared this comment prior to the meeting tonight, and I feel that some of my concerns have been or will be addressed, I'm going to read this anyway. You know, people don't tend to call the town hall just to say thanks for the running water. They don't write letters to celebrate working stoplights. They don't form coalitions for building inspectors until something collapses. Crowds of concerned citizens didn't come here in the past years to talk about the animal shelter because we assumed it was operating as intended. We assumed animals were being cared for, treated, and placed. That's what towns are supposed to do, but now we know better. Now we've seen what happens when no one is watching. Horrifyingly high euthanasia rates, dogs dying in kennels, animals euthanized without sedation, rescues being kept at arm's length while animals are killed. Now we've heard firsthand testimony about scores of animals euthanized even as citizens beg to foster or adopt them. We've read the numbers. We've heard about the dogs dying in kennels. We've seen the terrified, ungroomed, untreated animals come out of that shelter looking worse than when they went in. And we've heard from rescue groups and volunteers who say they were ignored, denied, or shut out entirely. We are not showing up now because things just got bad. We're showing up now because the truth finally reached the public. This is not a failure of resources. This is a failure of oversight. You may not have caused this, but now you know. And with that knowledge comes responsibility. Own that responsibility and pay for Howdy's bill. I hope that you will please do the right thing and show that you take the shelter reform seriously. Initiate a truly independent investigation into past and present shelter operations that require that a veterinarian or experienced vet tech examine all animals in custody. Because the next crisis is already there, quietly waiting in another kennel. And as you must surely have noticed, we're watching now. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter.
We have Melissa Spur and then Susan Herring after.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. Melissa Spur, Joshua Tree. In June of 2024, the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter Manager, Doug Smith, stood right here and presented the annual report for the shelter to all of you. He cited what now appear to be inaccurate statistics for shelter kill rates, numbers that were lower than the actual rate, yet still higher than previous years. Among other things, Doug Smith blamed the quality of dogs entering the shelter for the uptick in euthanasia. None of you asked him to clarify what he meant, so I assume you understood and agreed. And I would love for you to explain to me what this quality metric is, because I have yet to meet a low-quality dog. But the recent Howdy case has given us an inkling of what Mr. Smith's notion of quality is. It seems that unsocialized, abused dogs like Howdy are deemed unworthy of humane care and left to die in some dark corner. We're all worried that there are other dogs like Howdy miserably withering away in the shelter, and recent statistics suggest that there are far too many, and many weren't as lucky as Howdy and succumbed to death. From April to June of 2025, the same time Howdy was an inmate there, 13 dogs died in kennel at the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter. Let me emphasize, these are not dogs that were euthanized. This nauseating statistic means 5.9% of dogs just died in a cage, as Howdy would have had he not been rescued. That rate is nearly six times the national average for dogs dying in care. If this continues, the Yucca Valley Shelter is on pace to let 52 dogs perish in a single year from being neglected to death. Somehow last year's shockingly high kill rates are being matched by something just as bad or worse. The community is extremely alarmed. We are asking what's really going on in that shelter and why no one is addressing the root of the problem, Doug Smith. Doug Smith, I truly believe that there are no bad dogs, but there is, without question, one very bad Doug, and he needs to go now.
Thank you, Melissa. Susan?
Herring, and then Pyrie Carter. I believe is the name.
Thank you, Susan Herring, Pioneer Town. So as you can see, howdy, you can see the statistics that Melissa talked about. Many of us in this room think the same thing. Are there more howdies? Are there more howdies that died? Are there more howdies sitting in your back room somewhere that we don't know about? So Management 101, let's talk about the root cause. I think everybody in this room and everyone in your community can say the root cause basically boils down to one person, Doug Smith. So let me give you a little bit of background on Doug Smith. Social media is wonderful. Here's social media from 13 years ago. Let me share with you. So again, from 2011, Doug Smith apparently thinks making animals suffer and getting negative press is a great way to increase adoptions. Not a single volunteer was seen at the organization. And this is at the DeVore, where he was the supervising manager. So here's a nonprofit that wrote on their Facebook page, "My observation from DeVore, not one cage had a blanket or any comfort item. They were miserable and so uncomfortable laying and sitting there on the cold concrete. Met with the head of the shelter, Doug Smith, for 35 minutes and got a tour of the shelter. He does not allow blankets in any of the cells, and the cats are on newspaper." He also commented, "The more negative comments I get, the better. I like getting them because more people will come in and adopt." And I said to him, "The animals should suffer so you can adopt them?" I said, "The animals, how about doing something positive to get the dogs and the cats adopted?" And while I was there, I even showed him a clip on NBC LA Today show on how comfort with a blanket or a soft item for dogs and cats can make the difference of them being adopted. They become relaxed, feel safe and secure. He kept repeating, he's not doing anything wrong at the shelter. He does not believe in having comfort items. He does not believe in having volunteers. These are not my words. These are 13 years ago, deja vu. "I could not believe it," she said. "How strange is this? No volunteers." And so the comments came back on that Facebook post saying, maybe he doesn't believe in volunteers because he treats the animals like crap and doesn't want anyone to see. God bless those poor animals, get them out of there. And another comment, "Why is this guy in charge of the shelter? He obviously does not care for any animals. People like Doug Smith have no business being in charge of any kind of a shelter." And then another person started a petition to fire Doug Smith from DeVore. So again, I'm asking you, because you all sat up here, let's give this guy another chance. So is he on number 9, number 10, number 11? And you're right, the buck stops with you, Curtis. We're all waiting for you to do something.
Thank you, Susan.
Christy Carter. And then Jennifer Howell, you're on deck.
Howdy. Hi, I'm Christy Carter from Yucca Valley. I've been here for 20 years. I'm here today on my 1-year wedding anniversary because of the urgent importance of the safety of our animals, our town shelter staff, and our community's mental health over this heartfelt issue. Howdy was let down by our town, not because of us fighting for a better practices. I don't understand what it will take for you to do the right thing. Who is Doug Smith? Why is he still in a position of power over the animals who need compassion? Animals are very smart and sensitive. They know when evil lurks, and they will never trust a man of cruelty. Here is the victim lineup. Number 1, the animals who are voiceless. Number 2, the staff who knows the truth but is too afraid to speak out against the management. 3, the past employees who have left and had to walk away from their jobs due to the cruelty and afraid to ever come forward. Number 4, the whistleblowers who had the courage to come to you guys and were left with no help on the matter. Number 5 is us, the community, who has suffered as animal lovers, knowing the deep, dark truth, and have fought since February for animal justice in our town. We know about the changes that have come out of our fight, and we are grateful. But Howdy was let down by you. The town said they would do a proper review. This outcome is unacceptable to all of us. Even you, deep down, I know that you know the truth, and it is a dark situation. My question is why is management still unchanged with everything you guys know? Who is Doug Smith? Is he related to someone in power? Or are you guys victims too? Why are you afraid to do your job? What the hell is going on? I'm going to leave you with one quote from Yoda. If once you start down the path of darkness, forever will it dominate your destiny. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy.
Jennifer Howell, and then we'll have Abigail Conchunas. Just go.
Howdy. I have a feeling, a request, a question, and I would like to express my disappointment. I would like to express my disappointment. It is so crazy to be here again, fighting against abuse and neglect at our shelter, still. We should be talking about new programs and fresh ideas to make it shine so the animals there are as happy as they can be and people want to go there to get their next pet. I don't expect any of you to care about me or my feelings personally, but I do reside in Yucca Valley, the town that you represent. I have lived here my entire life. I was born in the home that my mom still lives in. My family has been here since the early 50s that I know of. We all work here, we bought homes here, we shop here, and we appreciate our desert homes. It has been a sad realization to learn that we really have no ability to change what we believe is wrong with our town if it doesn't go along with your priorities. I don't think any of you are fulfilling your obligation to run our town as the people of this town would like it run. I would request that our shelter add a camera to each kennel, as well as the kill room. With the continued lack of transparency and our dwindling faith that you will do what needs done, I believe that it would be a reasonable request. It is crazy to think that Doug Smith, who has been accused of abuse and neglect many, many times, and is described as the man who makes the hair on back of many people's necks stand up, is the only one in charge of killing our animals, without anyone overseeing him or checking to make sure he's doing things as they're supposed to be done. I am sure the shelter has internet, and cameras can be purchased reasonably priced. They're easy to install and easy to operate. That would give us a little peace of mind that animals are being cared for properly in their cages and humanely killed. And when cases like Howdy arise, we can go back and truly find out what these poor dogs are really going through and hold the appropriate people accountable. My question is to all of you, where was your $50 donation towards Howdy? He was pulled by a nonprofit donation-funded rescue from a county-funded shelter. They spent over $13,000 to fix a dog that you all broke. James rallied to raise money and then generously matching their donations, which is amazing. Had you all donated $50 each, it would have added another Howdy, or $50 or $500 to Howdy's mission. Sorry. And finally, my suggestion is to you, Jeff. I would suggest that next time you call animal control on your neighbor and Doug Smith is at your house, you should ask him to not make cocky public comments like this is all going to blow over, or that nobody's ever going to interact with dogs on a volunteer program, because it shows a disrespect to our community and it's also making your job a lot harder. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Abigail Kochinas, and then we'll have Cheryl Contopoulos.
Hello, thank you. I'm Abigail Kachunas. I'm a resident in District 2. I just moved here in April, not knowing that I was moving right up the road from the shelter. And I got so excited because I work with animals, both professionally and in a volunteer capacity. I work to address behavioral issues, illness, injury, and trauma. I also work with humans in trauma recovery. So I'm very familiar with rescues and shelters and all of that. Sorry, we're just going through this and my eyesight is not the best. I myself am also a survivor of abuse. So it is from extensive personal and professional experience that I'm speaking to you. I've volunteered with various rescues and sanctuaries in Los Angeles County, and I just started at the Joshua Tree No-Kill Shelter. I've worked with hundreds of animals, from cats and dogs to farm animals and even snakes. Unofficially, I've been an animal advocate my entire life. It is rare that I have come across an animal, both professionally and volunteer, that has not been able to have their behaviors rehabilitated with basic care and compassion. And most of everyone that's spoken already has addressed a lot of my concerns, because I'm still new to this, but I was obviously very disappointed and concerned about the effectiveness of the council and the town management to oversee the running of this shelter. So I have a couple of rescues. I'm happy to share their names, but most importantly, that no one has touched on, at least tonight, that I'm very concerned about Doug Smith. So in my work and in my personal experience, we look at patterns of behavior. And this pattern of abuse and neglect and these accusations seem to have spanned for a pretty long time. I just want to share one thing. I'll be happy to email you all the notes with the citations that, based on a study between the Massachusetts Society for the Prevention of Animal Cruelty to Animals and Northeastern University, they found that people who abuse animals are 5 times more likely to commit violent crimes against humans. I found sources on the FBI's website. I found sources all over the place with this correlation between animal cruelty and human violence. So if this is a pattern of behavior by someone who is a public employee, I'm very concerned that this is a public safety issue. So it's animals, it's humans, it's everything. This is psychopathy. And I don't know why this hasn't been taken more seriously and why no one has noticed that correlation. And because it seems the excessive delay I wouldn't have done. Thank you.
Thank you, Abigail.
Cheryl Contopoulos, and then Quincy Bates, you'll be next.
I know I'm short. What's the word? I know I sent an email and I included town management because I really know that's where something can be done. Council does policy, you guys enforce. Anyway, going back to the overview, which Curtis, thank you this morning for giving a little preview of that. I still don't see a review of the behavior analysis or specific training for the staff who have been, one person, doesn't matter. These are dogs that have not been evaluated properly. Not just Howdy. He's not the first. May God he be the last. San Bernardino County Chief Animal Care, George Harding IV, didn't come into play until after Doug Smith was at DeVore. So now I'm in favor of having somebody like him come in. Shouldn't be biased. Matting of poor Howdy here is a source of a deeper issue. That's just the surface reflection of neglect. The new mission statement needs to be made by the shelter. Everything needs to be cleaned up and going forward. The issues that are being recommended now, thank you for doing that. It should have started 10 years ago. That's what leadership is about. And that's why the rescues and the fosters and the volunteers are going to be maxed out. Most of them already are because they've had this long-term relationship with all the other shelters in 100 miles. Now we're trying to play catch up, so we'll get there. We just got to keep moving forward with good leadership. Thank you for those 5 important steps that you mentioned, Curtis. San Bernardino County does do spay and neuter, and they're doing them all over on the other side of the mountain. So I don't know what they're going to do for the Morongo Basin, but all of the other towns in this area need it. And thank you, and please don't let them off that. Sorry, I have cataract still. I keep complaining about that and do nothing. The events for in and out around town and the euthanasia, I mentioned it this morning, it's lower because it was put on hold. So those stats
are because there's been no euthanasia other than specific cases. And the death in shelters didn't start until after March. That's a significant point for me. Sorry, I was sitting there scribbling. Please do not forget this face. And I'm going to read Proverbs 12:10 that I did a couple of months ago. And I want you to think about it, as everyone has said tonight and looking at Howdy. A righteous person cares for the life of his animals, but even the most compassionate acts of the wicked are cruel.
Thanks, Cher.
Quincy Bates, and then Deborah Savitt.
Let's see if that stays. Howdy. First of all, thank you for your recommendations, Mr. Yakimo. It's very important. I've been part of this community since 1992. I've lived in Yucca Valley since 2002. I've known some of you most of those years, and our children have grown up together. I've supported you in this position that you now hold. I do not envy this job you took on and the public scrutiny that it brings now. I spoke at a council meeting back in February concerning a dog at the shelter that was euthanized in less than 2 days while a rescue and citizens were actively trying to get him out of the shelter. I've been watching and waiting since then, hoping that you would step in to make the important and necessary changes to the animal shelter. I've been sadly disappointed. Abuse and neglect was taking place right under your nose during this 90-day review, and yet the shelter manager remains. The rumors have been proven true. The shelter manager, Doug Smith, has a long history of abuse and neglect that he has been accused of. His unethical euthanasia practices here in Yucca Valley have been brought to light, and now the indisputable proof of Howdy, the dog. If any citizen treated an animal like that, we would be undoubtedly charged with abuse and neglect. Why does Doug Smith get a pass? How many more are suffering and dying in their kennels in the past 90 days? Right now? How much more proof do you need? Doug Smith is a stain on the reputation of Yucca Valley. He needs to be replaced, and we need animal shelter reform today, not 30, 60, or 90 days from now. There is already a very qualified replacement willing and waiting to take over. Now what will you do? Thank you.
Thank you, Quincy.
Deborah Savitt, and then Christina Sanchez.
Good evening. I'm a cat lady, so I do love dogs, so I just want you all to know I love dogs. And Christina's back here. She just rescued about 40 cats in the last 2 months, and I foster the cats. So we try to avoid getting them to the shelter, which we think is helpful because we get them into foster homes. So we're asking anybody here that is willing to foster, please help. We need help for you to foster. Okay. So we do that. So we feel a lot of, I know Christina pays for a lot of things on her own, and we do, it comes out of our own pocket. But I have to say that I was really horrified to hear that this Doug Smith, the way that he euthanized the animals, and especially the animals, how he wasn't using euthanasia, and I guess to save money, and that would make them suffer. And that horrified me to hear that. So it just seems like it's too long now. I think there's too much evidence that he's abusive. He's got some psych issues. I'm sorry, Dr. Lombardo, but I think he needs to go. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people to replace him. Sometimes you just have to say goodbye, and it's just, he's just not good. You have to show. Let's see, we have Glenn Harris over here, the Joshua Tree No-Kill Shelter. He's an excellent manager there, and she shows compassion. We need someone like that. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Deborah.
Christina Sanchez, and then Allie Irwin.
I know some of you know me because I've been here many times for the Joshua trees. I'm here for the animals right now because it is disgusting that you guys continue to employ this murderer. First of all, I want to start off by saying that I want to praise everybody that exposed what's going on. This is disgusting. It's horrible, and we need to fire this person. Doug Smith needs to go. He needed to go a long time ago. I want to start out by asking you, is this who you want to represent your town? Is this the standard of compassion and care you want the community, your community to be known for? Someone who kills terrified, traumatized animals without sedation? Someone who doesn't see the difference between mercy and violence? What message are you sending by keeping this man employed? Is that cruelty acceptable to you guys? Would you let somebody treat your animal? How about, would you let anybody treat your children like this? Because animals are living beings, and it's disgusting that people don't respect them more and they treat them as they're just a piece of crap. I've exposed what's been going on in Yucca Valley. In fact, you know what? I called the town to report some animal abuse and neglect, and I got an attitude from the person that answered the phone. You know, you guys just... I don't understand. It's like, why are you working here if you don't want to protect the voiceless? It's total BS. I'm going to continue on here. 1 second. I'm not done. Animals deserve better treatment. And when you are protecting somebody, Lombardo, if you don't want to fire somebody, it's telling of what your personality is like. It's reflecting poorly on you guys. And then I want to talk about something real quick because you guys discussed something earlier about the foster program. And you, Shane, mentioned about how fosters are that you expect the fosters to continue to take care of the animals, that fosters are going to be responsible for advocating and basically they're extension of the shelter. Let me tell you something. Have any of you ever fostered an animal? Because fostering saves lives. Fosters help save lives of animals that are like ringworm babies, bottle babies, orphan babies, dogs that are sick, that are deemed to be euthanized. And let me tell you something, it's a lot of work to care for those animals. You cannot expect a foster to go on their social media because most people don't even use social media. And when you're fostering bottle babies, I want you to tell me if you got time to sit on Instagram and say, hey, I got these babies. We don't have the time. So you guys need to do better and not expect fosters to do your work. Have a better program, have adoption events, have educational events. Don't expect fosters to be extensions of your shelter. Plus, they're not even paid. And I've been a foster for shelters in the past, and guess what? They don't give me the food that I need. They're giving me crap food. I don't want to raise some baby on crap, dry kibble. You know, they don't give you show up for your appointments. They're not your shelter, but a different shelter. But it's like it's bad. So anyway, thank you very much. Do better.
Allie Irwin and then Tora Edwards.
Howdy. Howdy, Mr. Stuckel. Howdy, Mr. Yakima.
You're below the microphone.
Howdy, Mr. Stuckel. Howdy, Mr. Yakima. Howdy, Mr. Lombardo. Howdy, Mr. Abel. Howdy, Mr. Drozd. Howdy, Mr. Dennison. Howdy, Mr. Schooler. Howdy is an example. I'm disappointed that we are at the point where I am exploring legal counsel on the shelter.
Thank you, Allie.
Tora Edwards and then Eric Menendez.
Howdy. My name is Tora Edwards, and I have run a nonprofit dog and sometimes cat rescue here in Yucca Valley for many years. I wanted to bring a few suggestions and also some personal experience. I rescued for many years, principally from divorce shelter when Doug Smith was there. it was very hard for all of the rescues who were partnered with DeVore to try to keep up with the high kill rate. It was known as one of the highest kill shelters in Southern California, if not the country. Compassion fatigue, compassion burnout amongst rescuers is a real thing. It's really hard for us to witness all the dogs that go down. I primarily rescue the rescue only, which means the ones who cannot be seen by the public, who have been deemed to have, if they're just shy, they're put into rescue only, where the public cannot see them. Only rescues who are partnered are able to pull those dogs and get them adopted. And again, yes, all of those dogs did go on to happy lives. Most rescue people do this on their own dime. They put all their resources into it. All of my work is in service. All of it is for free, and all of my resources go into this. So yes, we do need support and be able to working with you guys, and really appreciate all the learning we are doing together. I also would like to emphasize spay and neuter. Again, with the budget, with less dogs in the shelters, again, it's a win-win to do more spay and neuter and put the resources towards that. If we can do it once a month, that would be wonderful. Spay and neuter, your pet will be cuter. Yeah. And I would like to mention that 4th of July is a rescuer's nightmare holiday, and worse off for the shelter animals. I have rescued many blind dogs a day or two before 4th of July because they will beat themselves silly and they will die. They beat themselves so hard against, and even a St. Bernard that wasn't blind one time beat himself against his pen, the bars of his pen, so hard that he died because they're so frightened. And then all the dogs, people's personal dogs, run and bolt from yards and end up in the shelter. And so what happens to all the shelter dogs that are there? They get euthanized. Okay, so let's think about a laser show with music. Yes. I would really appreciate that, and it would be so much kinder to all the veterans, to all the animals in our community. So and we could put the money towards things that are needed. Thank you very much, you guys.
Thank you.
Eric Menendez, and then we'll have James Porter.
Hey there, this is Sonia. Eric Menendez, Joshua Tree Gateway Communities Alliance. I appreciate all of your service, and I know Mayor Joe's, you guys gave an update today at your soda event. I saw the story of Howdy on the internet, and I kind of looked at the chart and the paperwork. My background before I was in vacation rentals and tourism and stuff was public health and nursing for 20 years. And I've done a lot of roles where I've done forensic chart audit and so forth. And just looking over the paperwork, I definitely think there's a lot of room for improvement. And I want to be honest, I haven't had a chance to look at a lot of the stuff on this, but I do think the computer, getting them on the website, making it searchable, I think that's going to help a lot. I don't envy any of your positions on this because I know it's a tough spot to be in. But in healthcare, we would call this a sentinel event. It's something that is like a near miss. My concern with Howdy is, this all happened while they were supposed to be under increased scrutiny, and it still happened to this poor dog. And it kind of, my dog is here. I just came from the no-kill or the Animal Samaritans because she had a seizure a couple days ago. So she's gonna need, she's at her end of life, and I couldn't do it down there right now. She's okay now, but she's the same breed, looks just like her, and I know how it is. You got to groom these dogs, and he was in really poor shape. So I just hope that I think you guys should be open to the PETA recommendation of making sure we get a full investigation into how this happened. In healthcare, we would do the same thing and admit, yes, we messed up. The whole team messed up, and we'll take accountability for it. And lastly, I just want to say this community is amazing. I love this. I'm taking this to 29 Palms because we need this. But I just think they're very engaged, and it shouldn't take something bad like this to engage us. Hopefully they'll continue to come to council meetings and your events, because I think there's a lot of things with health and wellness overall in this town, in this basin we can do. And I do want to acknowledge Glenn Harris and his shelter for stepping in to take care of Howdy. I'm glad he's doing better. But thank you so much for all you do. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric.
James Porter, and then we will have Sue Walls.
I have a video before I begin.
We did get your PowerPoint, but you're free to speak, but we all got it individually, so.
I'm sorry, it actually allows for that in public comment, and I insist that it be played. That is part of the town council rules.
Not a PowerPoint, no.
Absolutely
I've never
incorrect.
seen-
That is in the town council guideline published by the town of Yucca Valley. It is in your manual that a public commenter can present a PowerPoint.
Well, according to my counsel, we don't have to play it.
Town attorney? It is in your written guidelines.
You can speak. Tom, would you like to chime in?
Sure. The town has a presentation policy. It applies to the item on the agenda, which is called the presentations, introductions, and recognitions. That's at the very beginning of your agendas. But for all other agenda items, the town's procedure is not to allow electronic presentations for those commenting on that item.
Okay, thank you. If you want to speak, you can.
Oh, I'll speak.
Okay.
So I'll speak to the crowd then. I provided the town a PowerPoint tonight showing the abject failure of the town council regarding the animal shelter, so I will just air it. The last time we heard anything from town council members of substance was during the June of 2024 presentation by Doug Smith, where they heaped praise on him for what a great manager he was and what a great job the shelter is doing. Since then, we have heard platitudes, we have heard promises, we have had private conversations with council members where we were told that there's a problem and it needs to be addressed. We have heard pleas for second chances. What we have not heard is a public statement from the council that there is a problem at the shelter, that it needs to be addressed. So I offered in the PowerPoint, which I will publish online tonight so everybody can view it, I asked for the council to consider 5 things. There are 5 things the council can do, because some council members have told me there's not much we can do about this, but here are 5 things. Number 1, you can do nothing. That's what you've done, and you can continue to do that, and that will tell everybody in this town what you believe is important, and it's not this. Number 2, you can take action against the town manager. You say that you have no control against employees, but you have direct control over the town manager. You can do anything from sanction to remove him. I am not suggesting you do that. I'm suggesting that you could do that. You could subpoena witnesses or documents as allowed under Council Rule 13.3 here to testify in front of you regarding their failures. You could simply order Doug Smith to appear here and testify about the failure of the animal shelter. You could take a vote of no confidence and tell the town tonight that they have failed. The council could make a motion for a statement of no confidence regarding the shelter, the management, or anything else. I am demanding that you do that, and I believe everybody behind me wants you to do that too. Next, you could simply put this on the agenda every time, like we have asked over and over. I've asked personally, you've said no, barely with comment. I've had conversations with the mayor offline. I asked him to do an emergency meeting to address the Howdy situation. He said he'd look into it. I have never heard a thing since then. So what we've heard right now is the town is not all that interested in doing anything other than moving forward, and that fails to look at 4+ years of mismanagement. And the only reason we're seeing positive change is because of all the people back here who are putting pressure on you. So our goal right now is to get the council to do something. Right now, the only 5 people in the town of Yucca Valley who have failed the community worse than Doug Smith is you, the council. Do something. I encourage everybody who's on social media to join Anyone But Them YV. That is a social media group that is designed to remove, replace, or recall each and every council member who does not take action to fix this. Smirk and smile all you want. We are coming for you as a town. Thank you.
Sue Walls, and then we'll have Brian Hennessy.
Thank you, James. What was that?
Sue Walls, you're next.
All
And
right.
then afterwards, we'll have Brian Hennessy.
Howdy. It seems like there's been a real fiasco, and things need to change. We all know that. We can all see that. I hope
you guys can, I mean, I know you do. You can see that the things have to change. And I think the number one thing that has to change is the management. And at least Shane isn't turning his back on us. He's just staring stonily ahead. But he's the one that is in charge of the animal shelter. So really, Shane Stuckel has to answer some questions too. But when we ask questions, he always says, well, I'll look into it, or I'll find out about it, or what. We don't get the questions really answered because he's the middleman. I think we really need to have a change in the shelter. We need to have a manager for the shelter that would be compassionate, that will do things. I mean, okay, Doug Smith, he has all that big salary, and what does he do? He stays in his office. He doesn't go out and do any kind of talking to the schools. He doesn't do anything with any kind of shelter events. What does he do for all his money? He's not doing anything on social, the social stuff. That's Brooke, that was in her good, out of the goodness of her heart. She did that. She was putting the stuff on there. And Mr. Droz, he gets up, makes sure the things get up saying, please adopt animals. I've got free certificates. What is Shane? What does Mr. Smith do? What does Doug Smith do? I think he's getting paid too much to be a murderer. I mean, because really, that's what it is. I mean, we've been watching this thing in Florida about the alligator Alcatraz. I mean, that's going to be our new slogan when people come into town. It's going to be, oh, watch the shelter, the animal shelter. They're going to get your dog, and you won't get it back because it'll be dead before you know it.
Thank you, Susan.
Brian Hennessy.
Who was that? Brian?
Howdy. I've been watching the events since the story about the animal shelter review first broke. I listened and at the beginning had no issues giving you the benefit of the doubt as a 90-day review began and small steps started being made on your end to fix the issues. But eventually, a gut feeling started kicking in, and it wasn't the positive kind. There's a saying that is very true, and that is you are responsible for how people perceive you. My perception, which is shared by many, is that we as a community have just been getting lip service when it comes to addressing these problems in the shelter. Shane Stuckel toured the Palm Springs Animal Shelter early in the process, and after the tour, he said he would be in touch with them and left that shelter with a trove of information regarding resources that are low to no cost, including software that you don't need to vet for 7 months, and the name of a local Yucca Valley dog behaviorist who has never been contacted. That tour was given on April 21st, 12 weeks ago yesterday. I know this because my wife is Cheyenne May, who is the operations director at the shelter, and gave Shane that tour. She cannot be here tonight. She has offered her expertise to assist and help guide the shelter in the right direction with better protocols and procedures. The only thing she was taken up on was the tour of the shelter for Shane, during which Shane offered a reciprocal tour of the Yucca Valley shelter, which still has not happened, even after both Cheyenne and one of the Palm Springs board members followed up. I don't know why you won't accept her assistance. She has 15 years of shelter experience, and all she wants to do is help improve the lives and the outcome for the animals at the Yucca Valley shelter. To be clear, Shane, you haven't just not accepted her assistance, you have ghosted her completely and haven't reached out in any capacity since that tour, outside of the basic thank you email you sent the same day of the tour. You, Shane, even thanked her when she spoke here weeks later in front of this crowd as if you hadn't blown her off. And after that night, you still didn't follow up. That leaves me with the perception that your actions are both disingenuous and performative. Where are the statistics for the cats? Ladies and gentlemen, those numbers are worse than the dog ones we've seen tonight. This shelter situation is now the legacy of this town council and what you'll ultimately be remembered for. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brian.
Mayor, that's all the cards I have. Thank you.
All right, let's see if there's any online. All right, let's go.
Yes, we have our first speaker is going to be Catherine Engelbretson. You have 3 minutes to speak. I've requested you to unmute. Okay, next person will be Shirley Pearl. You have 3 minutes to speak. I have requested you to unmute.
Howdy, you all. I'm sorry I couldn't be there. Shirley Pearl, I've been a resident of Joshua Tree and Yucca Valley for 14 years now. I'd like to bring up something as my time as a public school teacher for 20 years, which I feel has a little bit of relevance to what's going on now. We had a new principal to our school, and like Doug Smith, she really didn't care about the students or the teacher or the community. And this went on for a while. We had a lot of grievances as teachers. So we all got together, just like our community is here, and we began to document and address all those in charge who hired her, just like we are doing to you. And we documented her neglect, we spoke up, and we filed grievances with our teacher union. Those in charge ignored us, just like you have, but we never backed down. And finally we reached out to the local media and news who picked up the story. That's when they finally said, okay, time is enough. We don't want this bad press. She got a slap on the hand and then was transferred to another school. So this is similar to you all. Why are you not making Doug Smith accountable? And why are you shielding him from us? I have no idea what he even looks like. I may have even seen him in public, but he's just some phantom ghost to me. And to our community, none of us really know what he looks like. So what does it take to have you really hear us, to hold him accountable and finally fire him? What's the deal you've got with him? Is it some kind of blood deal? We don't understand. You're not addressing that for us. You just keep ignoring it. One other thing I'd like to share along with everyone else here is the money we raised for Howdy's vet fees. This was not our responsibility as a community. This is your responsibility to pay for the neglect Howdy went through. I feel, and I think I speak for everyone, you need to cover these vet fees. Why do we pay taxes to you that are supposed to go, excuse me, I wrote that. Why do we pay taxes to you, which is supposed to go to the shelter, goes to Doug Smith's salary? Why is that happening? Why are you not taking care of that? So do the right thing. Make Doug Smith accountable. Stop shielding him. Stop hiding him. What is the deal with you guys? We are all asking you the same thing over and over and over, and you're just pretending like he doesn't exist. And so do you have some kind of long contract with him that you can't break? It's clear the man has been abusive in other situations. Why are you holding on to him like you are? So not doing the right thing, I know for myself and all others sitting there and the community like myself who couldn't be there, how can we even have any trust in any of you if you're not giving us a trustful leadership and on the side of us, the people who voted you in, the people who pay your salaries, the people who pay the taxes? Thank you.
Thank you, Shirley.
Next on our list is Melody Bracken. I have requested you to unmute. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, thank you. First, I want to say that in addition to Howdy, there were a couple other dogs that were rescued from the shelter. And I'm a volunteer at the JT shelter. And I had the most amazing pleasure of socializing with a dog called Brisket, aka Meatball, because that's what he looks like. And he was rescued because he was set to be euthanized because he has cataracts. And I find that reprehensible. One of the speakers said she couldn't see very good because she had cataracts. So do we euthanize people because they have cataracts? We shouldn't be euthanizing dogs because they have cataracts. And this dog just hops on you and slobbers on you and loves you and will make an amazing pet for someone. The other thing I want to point out is that for most of my career, I educated and helped victims of violence. I was an anti-violence advocate that worked with abused and sexually assaulted women and men. And one of the things that I always signed on my letterhead was a quote that I just felt was so true, and that is, silence is affirmation. Silence is affirmation. If you do not speak up when you see things are wrong, you give the impression that you agree with the behaviors that are happening, and that everyone needs to be able to speak up and give their opinion. Finally, I have a couple of questions or suggestions. A lot of pets are turned over to shelters because their owners cannot afford the care that they need anymore. They're low income or senior citizens. Why don't we start some sort of fund for low income or senior citizens to help pay for the care that the animal needs instead of sheltering them in a shelter? They could be at home being loved and in their bed. So that is one of the things. I don't know if anybody's ever considered that in the past, but it's something that I think should be considered. Wouldn't we be better off spending our money allowing these animals to be loved in their homes, especially these senior dogs that are so hard to place? I don't know much about Doug Smith except for what I've seen. I live in Joshua Tree. I've been here for 6 years. I grew up in California and lived in North Dakota for 40, but came back here because of the weather. So I hope that something gets done here so we don't have a Howdy or a poor little meatball brisket that just wants to give love to somebody. Thank you.
Thank you, Melody.
Our next speaker is Diana Persinger. I've requested you to unmute. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. I wasn't ready. Well, howdy, y'all. Please note that we speak for Howdy, but Howdy now stands for all voiceless animals, past, present, and future, that have been or will be under the Yucca Valley shelter. And we are upset because this is literally life or death. I mean, is anyone else out there getting the sense of lack of urgency for all the positive changes? It's like waiting for crumbs. Or is it just me? Because it'll be almost a year for some of these changes since February when we brought it up, according to some of the good ideas that we heard here in the beginning. But that's a long time to wait. And how many lives are going to be suffering until then? But I'd like to state that Doug's inhumane euthanasia practices and the trauma brought to animals and staff is absolutely unforgivable and unforgettable. For anyone that missed it, he was holding down animals while performing non-sedation euthanasia as the animals screamed in fear and pain and bashed around. Think about that. I understand that it has stopped since March, but shame on anyone for not doing something to stop it if you knew and you didn't speak up. Aside from potential employees that were maybe too scared to speak out, or did they have to sign an NDA? And shame on those who should have known, but did not even know until someone from the community finally spoke out. Who did know about it and when? Who approved? Has this been going on since 2015 when Doug was passed off from his cruelty at Devore to us here in Yucca Valley? Anyone who has any amount of empathy would be and should be traumatized by such inhumane euthanasia practices happening, daily? Isn't that against the law, by the way? We cannot have a shelter manager without empathy. He is clearly desensitized to the importance of each life that enters those doors. They are a number and a syringe in the stockroom. There is proof out there of cruelty complaints from the past several years against Doug Smith as well. Has anyone mentioned the poor, inhumanely euthanized dog that was found still alive the next morning? Can you imagine? Same guy who told me stray cats were considered coyote food and not worth trapping and releasing. Ask Doug about it. Do you really think he'll change? Because I have lakefront property here to sell you on the mesa if you believe that. I believe there is an actual vet willing to take his place, by the way. Can you imagine that? We thought 90 days was going to be forever for a review while animals still suffered at the hands of Doug Smith. Little did we know Howdy was being hidden during those 90 days, right under your noses and ours. And every minute he spent at the shelter during those 90 days were his death sentence. Who did a walkthrough? Why didn't you speak up for Howdy when you saw the neglect? The poop, the urine, the bile on his matted fur? Or did they hide Howdy from you? He was sick and suffering. Who trained the staff that deems dogs like Howdy unadoptable?
Thank you.
Our last speaker will be Catherine Eckelbritson. I have requested you to unmute. You have 3 minutes to speak.
Hi, my name is Catherine Ingebretson, and I have been a resident of Morongo Valley for more than 11 years. We have recently adopted our 5th dog in light of the crisis at the animal shelter. I understand there may be a lot of politics involved in your actions regarding the situation. I think that sometimes that mistakes are made, but in this situation, that management at the Yucca Valley Animal Shelter has made error regarding Howdy. But I also see there is concern regarding the amount of abandoned and stray dogs and cats in our community. I'm asking for there to be some review done, possibly regarding allocating more funds to address this. Also, I think there should be regulations implemented regarding dog breeding and dumping animals as well. Thank you very much for taking the time to listen to me, a concerned resident of this valley.
Thank you, Catherine. So before we take it back to the council, I don't know if staff wants to comment, or should we go right into us?
I think we'll defer to you, council, for questions. I think maybe if there's a couple things that I heard that I do want to just ensure that the public is aware of and that the council is aware of. Number one, in my comments, I was very intentional to say that the town missed the mark with Howdy, without doubt. And so we recognize that. Secondly, in terms of transparency, one of our commitments early on in this process was to ensure transparency. We've done that. It's taken a little while. It's taken a little while to get all of our animals online. We've got that online. Our shelter is open to the public. Anybody can come into the shelter and see any of the animals, both unadoptable and adoptable, owner turn-ins. Those are available. Some of the questions that we've identified with respect to Howdy, I have as well. I don't know how the animal did not be seen by either staff, myself when I was up there. Maybe I saw the animal and didn't recognize it. But there's a number of different questions that we have. And so those are some of the things that we've identified in the recommendations before you. But I do want to make sure that the public knows that our shelter is open during operating hours for anybody at any time to see what we're doing with all of the animals there. So,
Thank you. Well, I'd like to be the first one to speak, if I could. First of all, I want to say, bringing up my wife, what she put on Facebook, she was in favor, she was disgusted at what happened to Howdy. So I don't know why that was even brought up. She agrees with you, everybody here. I said it right away. As far as bringing up my personal life, a neighbor, it's like other neighbors complain, not me, but it doesn't matter. It's like you're bringing that stuff up. I mean, somebody's concerned about animals that might be abused and they report it to animal control. What's wrong with that? So I don't get that criticism either. But I do want to say, as I said, as soon as I learned about Howdy, it should not have happened. I'm embarrassed by it. And I apologize. I really apologize for what happened. So I'm sorry. I wish I could have done more. I wish I would have known. We've been on the right track as soon as everybody brought it up, which I'm so glad you all got involved in this. But I don't know. The Howdy thing now is I'm worried it's going to get us off track because we're making great progress. We're not there yet. We are making great progress. So allow me to speak. Okay, shh. Well, my pants aren't on fire, so I guess not. So I'm not a liar. We've been making great progress. You could see by all the changes, all the stuff Brooke has done, not just Brooke, but everything. But, well, I can't address that, okay? That's a HR issue. But anyway, I apologize and I'm sorry, and I may say more later, but that's the main thing I want to get across, is I apologize, I wish I knew, and I don't want to detract from what we're doing. I think all this negative energy, we could partner together and we could do good. Shh. Okay.
Bill Curtis makes $335,000 a year.
Okay. Okay, this is my time to speak, so
All right.
let's, shh.
Point of order.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so I'm done with my comments for now, so
All right.
now let's move on.
Yeah, may I make a comment? All right, thank you, first of all. I want to thank those who have been here throughout this entire process. The comments and suggestions have made a difference. I heard someone saying, that, it had to be brought to our attention. You were the ones that brought it to our attention, and we've seen just all the changes that need to be made. So I want to thank you for that and bringing it to our attention. Many improvements have been made, but many more need to have to come. And this is what I was thinking. This is a great example to my high school students when I was teaching on how community involvement, how free speech, and how coming up and trying to right wrongs can be productive and can make changes. So I want to thank you for being part of the process. Our council or staff members catching grief is a small price to pay compared to animals suffering. And our community members deserve better services than what we've been providing at the shelter. As far as the shelter operations have gone, we have failed, and so we do and have been making some drastic changes, and we need to continue to do so. I'm very concerned about how many howdies have we had in the past, and we never want to have another situation again. Again, we are making progress. I heard a lot of people say, thank you for listening, thank you for implementing these programs, thank you for doing the spay and neuter programs, thank you for all those things. And then all of a sudden, we see this horrific situation where that dog was suffering, and it should never have happened, and it should never happen ever again. I am concerned about the decision-making that's going on at the shelter. And I do believe that we do need to have independent and outside investigation on the operations, and we do have to have veterinarians coming in, a veterinarian program to oversee. None of us can watch the day-to-day operations. We have a lot of different hats to wear, but if we can get an independent person, independent veterinarian coming in, somebody who's an expert that we can trust, and we can get a report that we can validate, I think is a good step in the right direction. So the suggestions that our town manager made, there were 6 of them up there, I think that we should really consider those and move forward with those suggestions for independence.
Okay, who wants to go next? Councilmember Dennison.
Thank you, Mayor. So I don't know if any of you were here the first meeting when you came to the council, and I ended it because I couldn't speak on the matter. It wasn't agendized. And I said one thing, I'm frustrated, and I'm still frustrated. I'm very frustrated at the outcome that's going on right now. We were making great progress, and to staff, thank you for the progress that was implemented. We looked at the numbers up there. The youth rate is down about 50%. That's good news. Our transfer rate is up 9-fold. Now, it was at 1%, that stinks. But I'm going to say 9% is pretty good for staff. But I'm continuing to be frustrated, and I'm frustrated at staff because staff has a responsibility. We understand this. They have a responsibility for the oversight of the shelter, and Howdy was missed. Now, I'll clearly admit I was in the shelter. I went there and I visited, and I did see what was affectionately just called Meatball there. Meatball was this bulldog and the cutest dog that I saw. And I almost wanted to take him home. But I went there for a purpose, and I don't remember seeing Howdy, even though he was apparently there. So when we have crowding, and that's one of the things that staff is tasked with, is how do we manage crowding? The no-kill shelter is working now for expansion because of the needs of partners in our area. We need partners. The no-kill has stepped up to the plate to do this, but they have a long road ahead of them to build out. We have overcapacity in our shelter right now, in excess, as you heard from staff, about 140 up or down, but it's well over 100. The no-kill shelter in Josh Tree can handle anywhere from 10 to 15 pets, and that's a completely different world. But there is a lot of room for improvement, believe me. We missed the mark, we missed Howdy. It's very clear from all of you and many others. So I take responsibility for it. It's my responsibility to go there and continue to visit and not see those. I can't see everything, but I need to keep looking. You know, there's so many things that we're working on. We're trying to remove the barriers. We're trying to do the spade and neuter. That was something that everyone was confident that it would make a difference. And we're doing that, and we have them scheduled in October. We're still trying to get a date nailed down, and we will. You know, these discussions started after that first meeting when you guys came here. And people don't think things are going on. These are the comments that I'm hearing. I'll tell you, every single week, a couple times a week, we talk about this. And now we're going to continue to move forward. But I said shortly that the Josh Tree No-Kill Shelter, I'd like to thank you guys for the work you do. I would be in full support to continue. So we talk about this as the community. We have a Measure Y fund that we use, and that is for supporting groups that help us in a way. So they help the community, when I say us, not the town. We do things for the community. So we want to continue. I think we should look at expanding those partnerships and try and make it more productive so we can work. We need more help. We need more partners. There's no doubt. I think all of you could recognize that. And I'm in support of continuing those relationships and those partnerships. I'd like to see some of the relationships followed up that have been started and that maybe have not followed through yet. But you know why that happens is we're overtasked and understaffed, and we have concerns at the shelter that we need to work out as far as management goes. The volume of pets I talked about, I still like the outdoor kennels. Well, we have those outdoor drop-off kennels. We don't want dogs abandoned in our desert. And we've talked to staff about this. I think those are important to have. But with that comes an increase on intake. And so we have to understand we need more partners to do that. I think I just want to say I'm still frustrated, and I'm very sad about Howdy. I'm a dog person. Anyone that's met my dogs know my dogs aren't as weird as me, but they're great dogs. So it would be my direction to staff that we continue to work on these partnerships first, and we need to work on the upper end management of the shelter, and we need to make some changes, and we need to move forward. That's all I have to say now.
Who would like to speak next? Councilmember Lombardo.
I was really sad to hear the story about Howdy, and I feel that Howdy's situation was made worse by my suggestion to stop euthanizing, and he was placed in a kind of limbo, I guess, where his situation got worse, not better. It was something I didn't anticipate by suggesting that we cease the euthanization until we had a better understanding of what was going on. And I think he suffered for that. And for that, I am very sorry and apologetic. It was not my intention. I think I'm very much in favor of an independent review of the management, staff, and procedures at the kennel from somebody outside of our relationship or control, I guess, so that it can be evaluated as to what is being done there, and to make some changes. Things take time, and I understand everybody's frustration with that, but the procedures need to be thorough, and we need to know that we're justified in doing the changes that need to happen. A person should not lose his job unless it's evidenced correctly that he is failing at his job. I think we have maybe not made it clear what our expectations were, and that is part of the problem. So I think that needs to be addressed, and I think an independent study and resulting report from that, and then taking action would be the proper method. And I think it should happen quickly, but it's still going to take time. So I do like the suggestions that were made, and I think we're moving in the right direction. I just understand that you're frustrated because it's taking so long, and the results are suffering of animals that we don't want to see either. So it's a tough situation, and I feel bad that I've let you down in my handling of the situation. I don't know what else I could have done. Sorry.
Thank you. Councilmember Schooler.
Okay, thank you. I agree. I think Councilmember Dennison and Mayor Pro Tem Abel articulated my thoughts very well. I agree with what they had to say there. Yes, we messed up on the Howdy situation. We messed up. And I think everybody up here is terribly sorry about that and frustrated by that. We were on track to make some progress, and we messed up. And yes, another comment was made that it took public input like this to get change happening. That's true, it did, and thank you for that. And so that process has started, and I think we've been making, as the staff report articulated, we've been making some significant progress, and I'm happy to be a member of the standing committee that's going to start meeting in August, and I think that's a good move. I agree that with the recommendations from the town manager about engaging a veterinarian, investigating claims of neglect, the standing committee, the third-party review, and evaluate operating structure with the county. I agree with those recommendations and wholeheartedly endorse that. I look forward to the use of foster groups and the peer review, that process that's underway. So I do think we're making progress. I also like the education component about encouraging and finding every way we can to encourage responsible pet ownership, because I think that's a big part of the original problem. As for management at the staff, I know that things do take time, but I think I'm in favor of giving direction to the town manager to speed up that process and fix the problem. We need to be transparent. We need to provide training, but we do need, when we identify a problem, we need to fix the problem. And we've been at this 5 months, and so that's my thought. We just need to fix the problem.
Thank you. Is there anything else from, how about staff? Anything you want to add, or do we have direction? Anything to vote on?
So a couple things, couple thoughts. We provided a receive and file that identified hopefully some of the positive aspects of it. One of the things that I don't want to lose sight of is we have had a discussion with Howdy, the dog, as the primary focus this evening. we have 103 other dogs that are in dire need of new homes, and we need to stay focused on ensuring that those adoption opportunities are available not only for our public, but for our rescue groups. And we hope that that energy and passion continues to assist the town in those efforts as well for the remaining dogs that we have, plus the new ones that will likely come in on a day-to-day basis. In terms of the recommendations before you this evening, if the council is in support of those, or if you want to modify any of those, that would be direction that we would like to hear from you. If you're strongly in support of it, then those recommendations will all move forward immediately.
Okay, all 5. So do we need to vote on it, or just, I think we all agree?
I think it'd be good for the record if the council's in support of those to make a motion, and that way that's on the record for us.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that the items that were discussed earlier and are presented on the screen today, that we move forward with those items as presented.
Second.
Councilmembers Abel,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Lombardo,
Yes.
Schooler,
Yes.
and Mayor Droz.
Yes. All right, that item is complete. I hope, but I do hope
So-
everybody goes away knowing that we really are concerned about this, and thank you for participating. So are we moving on to?
Yeah, Mayor, let
item
me just
12?
give you a quick, if I might, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Just to give you lay of the land here, we have a public hearing, and one additional item on your agenda this evening. I would guess that those will take about 10 minutes. So if you're comfortable with that, we can forge forward. If you wish to take a break, you're welcome to do that.
Anybody else? Are you okay moving forward?
Let's go with it.
Forward.
Okay.
We will evaluate what 10 minutes is to our town manager.
That doesn't include council comments.
Start the clocks. Are we taking 10? No. Hi, Glenn. Yeah.
Item number 10.
Number 10, public hearing.
Oh, sorry. So, I'm watching everybody leave. Okay, so let's open our public hearing, item number 10.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Recommendation before you this evening is a recommendation from the Planning Commission that the council finds the project is exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act per section 15061B3, which states that if an activity is covered by the general rule that CEQA applies only to projects which have the potential for causing a significant effect on the environment and where it can be seen with certainty that there is no possibility that activity in question may have a significant effect on the environment, the activity is not subject to CEQA. And that the town council introduces the ordinance amending section 9.05.030 of chapter 9.05 zoning districts and zoning map of Title IX Development Code of the Yucca Valley Municipal Code, amending sections 9.15.020 and 9.15.030 of chapter 9.15 overlay districts of Title IX Development Code of the Town of Yucca Valley Municipal Code, adopting the CAL FIRE Local Responsibility Area Fire Hazard Severity Zone Map, published March 24th, 2025 for the Town of Yucca Valley. This is an ordinance of the Town Council of the Town of Yucca Valley, California, amending section 9.05.030 of 9.05 zoning districts and zoning map of Title IX of the Town of Yucca Valley Municipal Code, amending sections 9.15.020 and 9.15.030 of Chapter 9.15 of Title IX of the Town of Yucca Valley Municipal Code, adopting the CAL FIRE Local Responsibility Area Fire Hazard Severity Zone maps, which were published on March 24th of 2025 for the town. California Government Code requires that local agency can be a city, a county, or a district that's responsible for fire protection with a moderate fire hazard severity zone, shall designate by ordinance moderate, high, and very high fire hazard severity zones in their jurisdiction within 120 days of receiving recommendations from the state fire marshal. The town received that notice on March 24th, 2025, and the town is required to take action within those 120 days. The maps are created by CAL FIRE under the direction of the state fire marshal without local jurisdictional input or influence. Government Code Section 51179.3 states, a local agency shall not decrease the level of fire hazard severity zones as identified on the maps within the jurisdiction of the local agency and in exercising its discretion pursuant to paragraph 2 may only increase the level of fire hazard severity zone as identified by the state fire marshal. Local agencies are not permitted to decrease or remove areas from CAL FIRE recommended fire hazard severity zone maps. As I'm looking at this screen, on the right-hand side, the gray and red map is your existing map today. So that was this map illustrated only very fire hazard severity zones in the local responsibility area, and that was the red. The map on the left shows the new designations by CAL FIRE. The burnt orange color is high, classified as high fire hazard severity zone, and the yellow is a new designation called moderate. So you can see the difference between the two maps. Within the high zone, the high fire hazard zone, homeowners must comply with home hardening requirements to reduce ignition risks, ensure that new construction and renovations, which includes remodels or additions, adhere to the wildland urban face building codes. So there are special building codes which are designed to keep the embers that are floating in the air from making contact with wood surfaces that would, of course, ignite. And finally, to disclose fire hazard severity zone designations when selling the property. Within the moderate zone, which was the yellow zone, which covers much of the town, there are no special requirements established at this time. Knowing incrementalism and how laws incrementally increase with their regulations, we would anticipate in the near future that moderate classification will end up with some standards, but as of today, there are none. The proposed ordinance adopts the local responsibility area fire hazard severity zone maps dated March 24th, 2025, in compliance with California Government Code Section 51179A. The recommendation has been read into the record and is on file. There was one question that was asked. Let's see if I can find the page where The question was asked, how does this affect insurance rates and how insurance companies establish insurance rates? And these maps from CAL FIRE are completely separate from any mapping or analysis that insurance companies prepare for establishing insurance rates, so there are no relationships between these maps and the standards and maps and other technical information that insurance companies use. And that information is in your packet this evening. That concludes the staff report, and staff would be happy to answer any questions following the public hearing this evening.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on item number 10 in this public hearing? Seeing none online. Town council, anyone want to? Oh, let's close the public hearing, thank you. Is there anyone on the town council that would like to comment or have questions on this? Go right ahead.
Yeah, a question for staff. Did we ever receive any information back on how we were able to receive lower or safer classifications in our town from obviously red, very highest, and now we're at, we have a lot of moderate.
No, we
What did
didn't.
they notice that we could build on is what I'm thinking.
They did not provide any technical information. As you read through your packet, beginning on packet page 150, essentially goes through 154, and then similar information on pages 156.
Yeah, they just kind of talked about to accurately reflect that, and so I'm thinking they must have had their CAL FIRE crews out looking at it, surveying the areas, but I'm trying to figure out how we can make it even better in areas that aren't moderate, with some of the things that they've observed that they look at. That was the part, I guess I was getting in the weeds a little bit, but it's important for our community.
Understood.
So I'll follow up. Thank you.
Wasn't
Anyone
fuel
else?
reduction part of that? One of the things, if we were to do fuel reduction programs, that would reduce the risk?
It would, and they've come up with new, what they call Zone Zero, and then we have the 30-foot clearance that we spoke of before, the state fire department has, and then a 100-foot clearance. And I know that staff has been working a lot lately with Fish and Wildlife, discussing those things about community safety, and maybe those are some of the things that have changed. I'm not sure. But we've had fires in the area, so it's always of a concern to me.
Okay.
Yeah, my question is, it says within the high zone, of course, we didn't put in very high zone because we don't have any of those, but it says homeowners must comply with home hardening requirements to reduce ignition risk. Who is going to enforce that? Who's going to inspect that? And are we going to be charged with making sure that's being taken place within our community?
So that would occur through the building permit process when permits are obtained for renovations, additions, or new construction. Your building and safety staff is charged with implementing those state laws and those state building codes which are applicable inside the high, and if we had very high classification, the very high fire hazard severity zone. So that falls on your building and safety staff.
Okay, and then on here, I understand it says ensure new construction, blah, 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 like you said, that they would comply. That would be that. But on the top bullet point, it just says comply with home hardening requirements to reduce. That makes it sound like a home that's already built.
No, and I apologize if it reads that way. That was not the intent. This has to do with modifications that are subject to the permitting process.
Okay. Well, I think it's as we know, it's a real problem in California, so this is one way to address it. I just thought maybe we were going to have to go out and start enforcing those types of things. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else? Okay, so the recommend.
We approve.
Yeah, the recommendation is to approve the two things. So without reading it, does anybody want to make that motion?
I'll second Councilmember Lombardo's motion.
Councilmembers Abel.
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Lombardo.
Yes.
Schooler.
Yes.
And Mayor Droz.
Yes. Now we move on to item number 12, the 4th of July fireworks spectacular, background and evening recap. Yeah.
Staff report.
Yes. Mayor and Council, good evening. This is a recap of the 4th of July fireworks spectacular. We wanted to come back. The recommendation is that the town council receive and file the report. You can also provide any other direction as you desire. Certainly, this event, not the outcome staff desired with all, just a mountain of hard work put into this event. It's always an enormous effort, and not to mention the fact that it was at a new location this year, so that required some reworking by staff. And of course, our apologies to the community and to the town council for not meeting our own high standards for town events, and for not communicating the event status better to the community. And of course, our huge disappointment with the performance of our longtime town vendor, Pyro Spectaculars, who, had they really just been more truthful with us, there could have been a much better outcome. We could have planned differently. We could have worked with them. There could have been it could have been worked out. So that was disappointing also. But we want to take this opportunity. We want to learn and grow, right? So we always want to take it as a learning experience, and we want to make sure that we ensure the quality of our events moving forward, especially regarding communication with the public. As far as pyro spectaculars, there are, they've offered a replacement show. We're not asking you to make a decision on that tonight. Of course, for show replacement options, there's obviously the option to continue this show to next year for 2026. It's preliminary, but that's an obvious choice, of course. Right now, fireworks are very difficult to execute because we don't have use of Brem Park, which is why we did the MOU with MUSD to get the high school. So fireworks execution is very involved. So it's unlikely that we would reschedule that show for this year just because of not having a location to execute it. So, putting it, thinking of it as, okay, next year's show and, or thinking about other alternatives, we want to look into those. We put some information about drone shows. There is laser light shows and things like that we could consider. So we're looking into those options and would bring those back if we find anything that we think is viable for this year. As far as the changes to our standard operating procedure, so all of our events, especially this one, have an extensive standard operating procedure document that goes through all of the steps and procedures for each event. And this one's, obviously, we have a lot of partners, so this is, we certainly want to have a better response should something like this occur again. So we're going to make changes to the town's SOP for this event. Some of those include changes to the show procedures and communications. We can definitely include the fireworks vendor earlier in the process and make sure they understand that they need to communicate properly if there's any issues. We also need to communicate any deviation from the show schedule and really involve either the town's public information officer or have a communications person present during an event of this caliber is really important. So, you have event staff there, but they're usually, if something is to go wrong, they're going to be really concerned about the health and safety of the attendees first. So having someone there that's in charge of communication is a good change to make to the SOP. And we also discovered as well that although our staff doesn't know anything about pyrotechnics, we can lean on the fire marshal a little bit more. We've had discussions with them that we can expand our services with them to have them help us evaluate the operators' procedures a little bit more and in depth. So those are changes that we'll make to the SOP. We can also have a little bit better contingency plan for delays. So that could be arranging with the band for an extended performance. We did shoot out a lot of shirts, so we tried to fill the time, but we can be better prepared for something like that if we have a cancellation or if we have a delay, that we can be better prepared to fill that time for those who are in attendance. So we definitely share the disappointment felt by the council and the community. At the conclusion, it was otherwise a really fun event. The band was great, and the girls singing Taylor Swift were just adorable. So it was unfortunate. But we want to take steps to improve our contingency and our communication plan to be better prepared for any unplanned event setbacks in the future, for sure. So that concludes the staff report. I'm available, as well as our rec supervisor, Clayton Reardon, for any questions following public comment.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone in the public that would like to comment on this? No one out here? No one online? So let's take it back to the council. I'll say I was there, and it was really great up until 9 o'clock.
Yes.
But I enjoyed it a lot. And at least you hit it out of the park with the concert in the park, so that's great. Anyone else?
I was waiting at some friend's house that had a view of the area in the backyard. We had dinner, and were waiting for it, and I was wondering what's going on, you know? And I think that the communication does need to be better, sooner.
Definitely.
And I'm sure you have lots of suggestions on how to make that more effective, but the fireworks purveyor was definitely at fault in this one, is that correct?
Yes.
They just didn't have the staff to set it up,
Well, I mean, hard to know the
location too
reasons. We were in
difficult?
communication with them all day. They arrived at the correct time. They were setting up, they had the right equipment. We're not we're not pyrotechnics experts, but everything appeared, I mean, we've been doing this for 9 years, and the Rotary did it for 30 years before that. We didn't see much different than the other times that they had.
Was it the location that added complications to them?
I don't believe so. I think that.
Just low staff?
I mean, it's speculation. We were, when we checked with them, usually they're done with the setup around 7:30. They gave us the thumbs up. I mean, Clay checked with them, and they said they were good, and they were fine. And then when 9 o'clock came, they didn't launch, and we didn't know why. So of course, then, that's when we, of course, had to make sure everyone was safe, because we had to turn the lights back on, and we had to make sure we didn't have any lost children, and make sure that there wasn't something, I mean, the operator was an elderly gentleman, so we wanted to make sure there wasn't anything.
He was okay.
Yeah, that there wasn't anything wrong.
Okay.
But we want to make sure that we put steps in place, like, for instance, they kind of hijacked our event.
Yeah.
We really needed to go back to them and say, okay, what time can you launch?
Yep.
That we should have communicated out to the community, hey, the launch has been changed to this time. They're either ready or they're not.
Yeah.
And then we could have decided, hey, the launch is rescheduled to X time. And then if they didn't make it, we should have just canceled.
It's very odd that, they say they're ready at 7:30 and then just nothing.
Yeah.
That's very odd.
There's speculation that, they maybe thought that they were going to get wind canceled.
Oh, and they didn't complete their setup.
Just a
Once
just
they're
a room,
charged,
just
they
a thought
become
by somebody
dangerous,
that
right?
maybe they thought that the wind, because the wind, it was a little bit breezy before, but it was launchable at the time at 9 o'clock, so.
Sue,
What's the contract situation?
Mayor, if I might. Sue, did you already express to the council our invitation to the vendor to come tonight?
No, I did not.
Okay, so we invited the vendor to come tonight. We actually requested on behalf of the town council for the vendor to come. They opted not to, and said that they would rather focus on delivery of a replacement event. And I think that part of it will be an ongoing conversation that we'll come back to the council with. But we did provide that to be able to answer questions just like you have, because we have no idea why they didn't do it. But
All right, thanks. Anyone else?
Yeah, Sue, I have, I can't imagine, I mean, the cost is very high for a 4th of July celebration, and everyone wants it on July 4th. And I know some communities moved the dates a little bit to accommodate a neighbor's show, someone close, and I know that's happened. Just throwing out some ideas, which probably aren't going to be good ones, but they're just a couple ideas. One is because of the cost, and because I know in sports, sometimes we have to change our scheduling because of the lack of officials. Too many Saturday night games, so now we have to move it to a Friday. Same thing with vendors. That vendor, they're looking for subcontractors, they're all in demand, it's hard to get somebody, and they get low staff, like what happened with us. So an idea would be Independence Day weekend celebration. So it would be the closest Saturday or the Saturday after the 4th of July. Now, every once in a while it'll land on a Saturday, I'm sure. But a Saturday, Independence Day weekend celebration, it kicks off our bands that we have for the concert series, and it kicks off fireworks after the Independence Day concert. So it's a separate event, it's not on 4th of July, but it is that Saturday, and it kicks off our bands for the summer, and it also could probably save us money because we might get a better rate, and we might have a better chance of some sufficient staffing. It's also on a Saturday, so people, could stay up late, those types of things. That's just one idea. I know other ideas are communities share a 4th of July celebration that goes back and forth like we do for our veterans. where 29 Palms does a celebration one year, and then the Morongo Basin has a celebration in Yucca the following. Saves both the town and the city money, or finding a common or central location where both the Yucca Valley and 29 Palms could have a fireworks at the college, at the college, large venue, not a lot of vegetation, and shoot off fireworks there. And it's a community event, bringing all communities together, celebration. Just two ideas.
Thank you.
All brilliant ideas.
Councilmember Schooler.
I can imagine the panic, Sue, at 9 o'clock, 9:05, 9:10. I had left because I needed to get somewhere else. I left right before it was going to shoot, and of course it didn't. But I've heard stories from everybody. Everybody in town has a story of where they were when the fireworks didn't go off. It's one of those events like that.
Right.
So, yeah, I sympathize with the panic. The lessons learned and commitment to do better, I appreciate that. It seems like we have a lot of things to apologize to the community about tonight, and that's one of them that was out of our control. But yeah, we can take steps to do better. I'm fascinated by the drone shows that I see in here. They're pretty pricey, but I sure like the looks of that. That looks like maybe not next year, but somewhere in the future. I think we're probably headed that way.
Or maybe look into trying something, maybe a smaller scale one. You see they have different levels.
Yeah.
We might be able to plug in something that's a little bit smaller scale just to take it for a spin without,
Yeah.
a huge budget
Pricey,
for
even
it.
the smaller scale were pretty pricey. But
Yes, true.
in lieu of what happened here tonight with the animal activists, a light show might be much preferred over the booming sounds of fireworks.
And also, once we get the Yucca Valley ARC in, that's a nice, large
great
building that we could do
venue.
a projection on. And
Yeah, that's something to consider.
that was the first thing that, when the staff started discussing it, is we had this huge, big building and this huge, big field, and doing some of the projection artistry that is really popular right now.
When I was in Japan at the World Expo, they had a whole different world than here. They spent hundreds of millions or $1 billion to put it on, but they had a very incredible light show and water. It was with lasers, and they had kind of like a mist in the air that allowed them to make three-dimensional things with the use of lasers, and it was very impressive.
Interesting.
I know we're probably using up that 10 minutes that Curtis talked about, but I did have one question. How many people were there at 11 o'clock?
Several hundred. I would say
Really?
350. I don't know if Clay knows, probably about that amount.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they were having.
Well,
they were having
bless
fun.
them. All right, thanks.
Councilmember Dennison.
So, to keep with time, one thing, I would like to see something developed, and I've spoken to staff a little bit about it, like an event action plan. And that no matter what we do around here, because this is one of our premier events. And we have lots of premier events that are pretty big. They draw a large crowd. But it just shows from beginning to end, if there's a failure along the way, what are we going to do? And that way it could get disseminated amongst staff and also the council.
Yep.
And so whoever is there would be able to jump right in, explain to our audience of what's going on, and some clarity. And there's a drop dead time on those plans. There's just, it's a system from beginning to end. And hopefully you never need to use it. It just goes as planned, but just a thought.
Yes.
Thank you.
I just want to say one more thing. The Mayor Pro Tem, that's a great idea, make it that weekend, but I think next year I looked it up, and the 4th of July is on a Saturday. So if we did it,
We can try it next year.
yeah. But if we move it to a Sunday, I don't think that's a good idea because of school, so it would have to be the day before. Anyway, I guess that's it. So file and receive, yes. Thank you, Sue. So now, are there any future agenda items by the council?
No.
Yes, okay, none. Public comment. Town council takes this time to consider your statements on items of concern which are not on the agenda. When you're called to speak, please state your name and community of residence. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Inappropriate behavior which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of the meeting will result in forfeiture of your public comment privileges. The town council is prohibited by state law from taking action or discussion items not on the agenda. I think I read that faster than usual. Okay, so is there any public comment?
We have a request to speak by Eric Menendez.
All right.
Hey there, it's me again, so Eric Menendez. I just wanted to lighten it up a little bit because I know you guys work so hard here. I just want to say, and sorry, Mary Rose, I have to tell the one-armed man story.
Yes, that's okay.
You know, working in the vacation rental industry when we'd been up here, my cousin and her fiance had moved up here, and they had subleased an Airbnb on the Mesa right around the corner from the mayor. And I had known who the mayor was, but I never met him because I was so busy doing all the business stuff. And anyways, my cousin, you know, it's a rural dirt road, and she's like, there's a one-armed man knocking on the window. You know, who's that? I'm like, oh, that's just the mayor. Because I had known you and so forth, but you were campaigning, and that's the time you were the mayor, and there was no one else running. And I think we had that the last election cycle, you had 3 unopposed seats and so forth, and there's been a lot of people are upset, and rightfully so, you know, a lot of recall this and replace everyone. And, you know, I wouldn't want to be in your shoes at all. You know, a lot of the stuff I've been doing as the alliance with JTGCA has not been well received at all there. I kind of tried their stunts with the signs and stuff, but I did it with a chalk marker on a public window. And the next thing I knew, I was a guest of Captain Warwick here for 8 hours. But he's got the best Airbnb in town, I'll tell you. But in any case, moving on, you know, I think, you know, engaging the community is very, very great. We've only got 10 people here now. You know, we had a full room a little bit ago. It shouldn't have to get to, you know, we should be getting more people out. You know, when I went with the Alliance to the Healthcare District to talk about my wellness initiative and so forth, they wanted to know more, and they said, oh, we've never had a public speaker, and oh, we have this opening on our community health board on the community clinic side for them. Will you please take a seat? And I didn't really want to because I knew it could be a conflict with trying to get funding and this and that, but I waited a couple months, no one did it, so then I did it. You know, and it's been now a year almost, and I remember when they did the officers, you know, the CEO of the district, and I cannot speak for the district, I need to make that clear as speaking here, but, you know, they're, who wants to be co-chair in this? And I'm trying to hide under the desk, because don't make me, and then they made me treasurer. So I've got to sit with the CEO or the CFO and learn about the inner workings of our healthcare district, and they're they're wonderful. I'm glad to do it, because I used to be in nursing before I had a back injury, and I gave up on nursing because I don't want to work for an insurance company or an administrative role, and I kind of just moved on to something else. So it's good to be getting my feet back into healthcare and kind of looking at what's going on. I'm really concerned with we're losing our Rite Aids up here. You know, we have already, you know, not a lot of options and so forth, and we have some issues with the hospital. And, you know, back in January, I had a serious medical issue, and they failed me over here, but during COVID, they were really good with things, and, you know, I support our healthcare system. So I had a great meeting with Linda Evans, the CEO of Desert Care Network. You know, we're trying to bring more health and wellness initiatives here, and I think we're going to continue the dialogue. She is also the co-chair of Visit Greater Palm Springs. So anyways, thank you again for your service, and happy 4th of July. And Sue is awesome.
Thank you, Eric. Is there anyone else? No? Anyone online? All right, let's move on to staff reports and comments.
Mayor, we'll keep this brief tonight, this late hour. Just following up on your presentation from High Desert Water District, we'll make sure that you get the actual invite for the groundbreaking. That is super exciting for the community, and to think of $105 million coming into this community to provide relief for residents is absolutely amazing. So super excited about that. We continue to work with the district. There may be some administrative steps that come back before the council related to their grant funding requirements in terms of technical requirements for road reconstruction, but we'll keep you apprised as that moves forward. Late last week, Shane and I had the opportunity to be up in Sacramento to meet with the Department of Fish and Wildlife, High Desert Water District. We talked specifically about their project and hopefully have a path forward that will, again, provide relief for our property owners here in town, specific to the sewer project. Secondly, we had an opportunity to pop into Assemblymember Carrillo and talk to his staff on AB 1089. He has some modifications to the Western Joshua Tree Conservation Act that may be of significant benefit to property owners. They are still in development. That language is still being drafted through the Senate modification and revision process, but we will keep the community and the council apprised as that moves forward. And then lastly, as you saw this evening, every day that Yucca Valley Aquatics and Rec Center is continuing to morph into a pretty cool facility. So I would just keep on your calendars if you're going to be around. I believe the day is going to be July 29th. If you can block that off, there may be a special event at that kind of midpoint that we will give you additional information as that moves forward, but I do want to get that on your calendar relatively early. That's it, Mayor and Council, thank you.
Thank you. Let's move on to Mayor and Council member reports and comments. So, Councilmember Dennison.
Thank you, Mayor. I guess I just want to say thanks to Wanda for being here today and serving our community so well over all the years. She did a great job at the chamber. Got to go over there a lot. They would host a lot of events. So going to be missed. I'm excited to see what she's going to do now for our community because she always is there for us when we need her. The other thing I just wanted to say, I was going to say it earlier, but it just didn't seem right. I just wanted to let everyone know there's a lot more good going on around here than there is bad. We have our problems like anybody else. But I'll tell you, we've been working hard behind the scenes. Every one of us, the fireworks display this year had a problem. But it's a beautiful community, and there are a lot of good things, and once in a while we have to catch our breath and take a look around and recognize that. But so the bad things that we have do stand out quite a bit sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Lombardo.
It's always tough to hear the criticisms and being singled out for failing. I think it's necessary to hear it when it happens and own up to it, and I think we have. I think we're moving in the right direction. I understand their frustrations. Overall, I think the council works together very well. I think we all bring different expertise to the table, and I think we've done a lot of good. And I think we'll continue to do good, and I think we'll solve this problem with the animal shelter and move on in a positive direction in the near future. And I just hope it's quick enough to satisfy the town community that is, anxious about this subject and needs to get resolved. So I think we'll move in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Schooler.
Nothing more this evening.
Okay, Councilmember Dennison. Or no, I didn't. Sorry, you already did. Mayor Pro Tem Abel.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go twice.
Thank you again for all those that came out. I was looking forward to hearing the suggestions throughout the process. Very little grandstanding. It's a very emotional situation, so I was actually quite proud and pleased to see the passion that was spoken about, and very little disruption. So I want to thank the mayor for running a wonderful meeting, and I want to thank the community for keeping us accountable, and thank you staff for always responding to our concerns. And hopefully everybody has a good rest of your evening and week.
All right, and I just want to mention again, the concert in the park was great. It was a lot of fun. I was walking around, everybody was happy, complimentary. Some folks I didn't know asked me to sit down and play Jenga with them on the grass, and I knocked it down first and I lost. So it was a great night. I just had a lot of fun. But anyway, that's it. I think I've said enough. So upcoming meeting schedule, the Town Council meeting of Tuesday, August 5th, 2025 is canceled due to a lack of quorum. The next regular meeting of the Yucca Valley Town Council will be right here, Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Meeting adjourned.